Who are you to doubt El Dandy?
This is Robbie Eagles.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
Hi, this is Mimic. This is 5 times the world's heavyweight champion, the Scrap Daddy himself, Scrap Iron Adam Pearce.
This is Brian Alvarez, and you are listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Welcome to the show, folks. My name is Josh Armour, and thanks very much for downloading Wrestle Radio Australia. This is our first episode.
Oh, yeah! G'day, this is Big Brody Marshall.
This is Brian Alvarez.
This is Dean Brady of the Millennials.
This is the Jurassic Punk Sid Parker.
How many of you guys have heard the term kayfabe?
Hello, doggers. This is Jay Hunter from OSW Review.
This is Matt Grim Basso.
This is the loosest in Australian wrestling, Adam Brooks.
This is Scrap Iron Adam Pearce, and you are locked in to Wrestle Radio Australia.
I in the game, I'm champion, I'm Triple H. Undertaker, I'm your maker, bury the brother like Kane. Ooh, 1-3, hit the tombstone, hit the choke slam on face. Ooh, yeah, like a macho heel, tell like country muscle. If you suffer like tomatoes, I'ma keep a couple models. Ooh, and you may call me HBK. When I'm tuning up the bang, you best be getting in my way. Ooh, yeah, I'm degenerate, I love it, yes, I love it. If you ain't down with that, then I got 2 words for you, suck it. Too sweet, put your fangs up. Too sweet, holding up the club. Let's be busy, 23, got me feeling way too sweet.
I was trying to make chicken salad out of chicken shit, and it was just awful.
I've turned chicken salad into chicken shit. I will continue to do so.
Here I was, blaming AEW for feeding you chicken shit, knowing you mindless millennials would be eating it up as if it were chicken salad, when it's really been your fault all along.
Make chicken salad out of chicken shit. People is as people does, that's all there is to it. But a square peg in a round hole just never seems to fit. And you
This is Bianca Belair.
Hey, this is Kevin Owens.
Hey, it's Seth freaking Rollins.
It is the man, Becky Lynch.
It's Rhea Ripley here, and you're listening to Wrestle Radio Australia.
Hello and welcome to Making Chicken Salad, the Wrestle Radio Australia show where we talk about everything going on around the world of wrestling. My name is Lachlan Albert, and I am joined tonight by the brain behind WrestleBrania, Jeff Setti. Jeff, it's good to see you, mate.
Always good to see you, Lachlan, and we're joined by the birthday boy, Zach Saber Apps.
Simon Helbig? No, Jamie Apps.
Thank you, guys.
Jamie, always good to see you, mate.
You too. Glad to be here. Glad to be back after.
We are obviously in a very fun mood tonight, clearly because the podfather Todd is not here. He is currently preparing to be completely demolished by the monster Rip Riley this Saturday night at Pro Wrestling League. So if you're up here in Brisbane, get amongst that and see a man who I understand is very tan by now, ready to make his appearance. But before we get to all of that, we've got some wrestling to cover. And boy, oh boy, do we have some wrestling to cover this week. Like Alex Fireheart saying in the chat, Dad's away. Time for mischief. That's exactly right. And Dad's away for a big week. We got a double header tonight, baby. That's right. RCW 300 as well as Mayhem Pros Bad to the Bone have both gone up, available for watching at a very low price on a very accessible platform, which means that we are going to be reviewing 2 shows this week, and we want to hear your thoughts.
Todd's not here. You can say it. You can say it. You can say it.
I don't know what you're talking about, mate. Don't know what you're talking about.
You don't want to say that it's
not the
free on YouTube.
There we go. He's broken the seal, folks. That's right. RCW 300 and Mayhem Pros Bad to the Bone are both free on YouTube. So we want to know your thoughts. Get amongst it in the chat. Come over to twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. Come do what Alex Fireheart's done and join us in the conversation. Do what Roddy Online's done when he says, "Da boys." That's right. It's going to be a wild night of action tonight. And that's even before we get to everything that's happening in Australian wrestling this weekend and the stories from WWE with the SummerSlam card coming up and AEW as they form the Forbidden Door card and everything that happened at Slammiversary and the news from the G1 Climax. And Eastman's in the chat saying that he's always watching Wazowski. And Matty Huss is saying, and Hero's thinking Lachlan would let me have a sober night. But then here comes Jeff with the free on YouTube. Matty Huss in the chat as usual, mate.
Matt, you're on the turnbuckle now. You should be used to being shit-faced all the time.
So, look, let's kick it off, and we might save the Matty Hush show just for a minute with Bad to the Bone coming up. First of all, it's a big celebration, a big anniversary, a big numbered show. Hey, it's not quite 500. I wonder what kind of show it would take to be approaching 500 episodes very soon. That'd have to be crazy. But 300 shows, an incredible milestone for one of the most storied promotions in Australian wrestling. That's right, Riot City Wrestling has had their 300th show, and RCW 300 is free on YouTube, so you can search for it and catch it right now. Head on over to YouTube, search for Riot City Wrestling or just RCW 300. You can find it there, or you can find it in the link of the description of this podcast if you're listening later. This was an absolutely stacked card, and big spoiler alert here if you haven't seen the show, but every title in RCW changed hands over the course of this show. It was an absolute monster and some seismic shifts in what RCW is going to look like going forward. Kicking it off, the Royal Park Rumble 3. This one was absolutely stacked. And before we get into all of the competitors, a trend that I'm starting to see that I love is Rumbles starting with more than 2 competitors. I love a Rumble starting with 5 people because it means that matches that are... Everyone loves a Rumble. They're so much fun. But they do have a tendency to drag because you know that the match can't end until everyone has entered. So by having 5 people start in the match, you're cutting 5.5 minutes or whatever it is of time that would necessarily kind of not have anyone be winning, and sweeping that out. Get right past the bit with 2 guys, get to the bit where it's crazy multi-man madness, and go from there. And I think that was a really good format for this. I'll list off everyone that was here. This had Amber, Banjo Powers, Brody Hunter, Katie Trey, Chasm, Dr. Richard Gouda, Einar the Strange, Haley Hendricks, Joe Master, Kai Thorne, Mickey Fortune, Party Guy Ty, SWAT 1, Violet Blitz, and Xavier Carter all involved. And Sebastian James in the chat saying, sounds to me like Lachlan is a big fan of the reverse battle royal. I tell you what, one of the great match types of time. TNA needs to put it on again and again and again. No, that was
all right. Lachlan is now no longer the show of the host and no longer associated with Wrestle Radio Australia. This was a great battle, a Royal Rumble. Jamie, what did you think? I have to kick you out now, Lachlan.
Yeah, I liked this Rumble. It was fun. I think what Lachlan's talking about, like with that getting rid of that opening sort of one-on-one bit, I think I like that. It reminds me of the first AEW when they did the like casino battle royal and they came out in like groups. I think that's a good way to also avoid that Rumble getting excessively long. Like you just have groups of 4 or 5 come out and you cut a big chunk of time that way. But I think they did a really good job of sort of getting some storylines in here as well. Sort of, I got a great first impression of Haley Hendricks because this is my first time seeing her. I thought she was brilliant. The sort of almost cheerleadery spot where she stood on the shoulders and then dropped down and did the Hurricane Runner. I thought that was awesome. Good callbacks to previous storylines because this is a celebration of 300 shows. To have the callbacks to Violet Blitz and Party Guy Ty from the last show there. And I think it was just the ending was a little bit for me like, oh, that was a bit underwhelming just because they just showed Gouda on the camera too much without the commentary referencing that he was just at the bar. They made it.
Yeah, so for anybody who hasn't seen the show, this ended with Party Guy Ty and Violet Blitz brawling kind of on the outside of the ring as what looked like the final 2. Meanwhile, Dr. Richard Gouda had gone under the bottom rope and was drinking at the bar, and then he came back in and eliminated both of them just by slapping their hands. So Richard Gouda becoming the winner of this one. I do agree that just production-wise, there were a lot of shots of Richard Gouda in the broadcast version of it, which meant that it's like, oh, so he's coming back and winning it. Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think if the commentators had at least referenced that a couple of times to say, oh, he's still at the bar, I wouldn't have been so underwhelmed by the ending, but they kind of ignored it and made it seem like he'd been eliminated, but then they kept showing him, like, oh, he's not eliminated. So then when he came back, I was like, oh, of course he was coming back.
In their defense, obviously commentary live don't know what the production at the end point is going to look like.
Yes.
But a note would have helped them. Look, I really like this because it paid off long-time fans, as you mentioned, with, feuds picking up from previous shows, but it also gave new fans a good overview of a lot of people in RCW. And I thought this was a lot of fun. I'm unashamedly a fan of Dick Cheese. My God, I love that name. That is such a funny name. And I'll have more to talk about this later, but I was really, really pleased with. I was pleased with the booking of it, but yes, I agree with you. The constant shot of Gouda and commentary specifically not mentioning it made it clunky and made it a bit more awkward than it had to be. My thought was, because I saw him go under the bottom rope, and they went about 6 minutes without showing him. So I thought, oh, maybe something's going on. And then they showed him, and then they showed him again, and then they showed him again. I thought, well, maybe he's part of a drink sponsorship deal or something. Maybe he's going to pick something up. But it was quite frustrating from that side of things. And Alex Fireheart has said it right. Definitely either have commentary reference it or just not keep cutting back to him so you forget he's there. Yeah. But a really nice Rumble. A really nice one.
And I'll say overall, I think what you mentioned with new fans getting a good shot of what kind of fun is in RCW, this had all of the hits in terms of characters, but also in terms of great workers, right? Character-wise, You've got the Richard Goudas, you've got the Party Guy Ties, you've got, the SWAT one helping out Katie Trey and all that stuff. You've got the Chasms, but then you've also got people like Mickey Fortune,
Banjo.
people like Amber who come in, and Banjo, and also those other people like Violet Blitz, like Party Guy Ty, who are really excellent in-ring workers to show that, hey, the characters are here, but also there's bloody good wrestling in this. And I think the Rumble was really well structured in terms of that.
And someone who kind of straddles both is Einar the Strange. He's a great character, but he's also such a good big man. You forget how good he is because he's been a bit periodical of late in RCW, but yeah, he did really, really good work. I was a big fan of this. I thought this was fun.
Absolutely.
I loved the opening package that Dean Brady did as well to kick off the show. That was awesome to set the foundations of what this show means for RCW.
Dean's character work has just been off the chain. The guy is delivering nonstop. Speaking of Dean Brady, when Ricardo came out to do a shoey to celebrate Australian culture with the help of ring announcer James Dalton, it led to Dean Brady making the attack on both of them. Hugh Beauty coming out for the save, and an impromptu match made between the two, with Dean Brady managing to get a win over the cricketer. I really enjoy everything Hugh Beauty's doing. He's such a fun character that then knows how to make it an actual match and not just a goof. And Dean Brady's the business. He's the nuts. He's got it all. I thought that this was just a solid piece of work. I think that it maybe went a little long in terms of the getting the beers part of the story, where it felt like a little bit of a drag in what was otherwise quite a pacey show that just felt a little long. But in general, I thought this was a nice bit of business. What did you think, Jeff?
Look, I agree with you. I like this so much. Hugh Beauty is one of those rare wrestlers. There's two things I want to say about him. One is losses don't hurt him. He's got that gimmick that losses just don't hurt the guy. He could lose 1,000 times and the crowd will still be in his back pocket. And that's beautiful to see. The other thing is he makes his opponent look good. He really does. Dean doesn't need help looking good. Look at the guy. He's amazing. But he like Hugh Beauty still played his part perfectly. This was always going to go to Dean Brady. There was never any doubt in my mind, and I don't, like you're both agreeing with me, that this was never going to be Hugh Beauty winning. It was a matter of time. And as such, they packed a lot in this 3.5 minutes that really, really worked. And I like this a lot. Big fan. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, Jamie?
I think, in a 3.5 minute match, they achieved so much in terms of making Dean look like an absolute monster that can just destroy everyone. But it wasn't just a straight squash. They still had enough sort of moment in there for Hugh with the hope spot, the sort of the bowling chop in the corner. Enough where you're like, okay, Hugh's got some stuff, but he was always losing. But it wasn't just come in, take 2 moves, and we're out of there. They put enough in there so that he didn't look he looked like he had somewhat of a fighting chance, but Dean was just ultimately much stronger.
And Dean's like one of the top guys in the company. Dean's going to win most matches at this point. So like it doesn't feel harsh having Hugh take the loss there. Alex Firehart in the chat saying it still shocks me how long it took to get a wrestler in Australia called Hugh Beauty. That is such a perfect name for an Aussie wrestler. It's just a fun gimmick. You know, sometimes that's all it means.
Song, just go, oh yes, I'm in. Like that nostalgia pop.
Yeah, fantastic stuff there. Moving on, the RCW tag team titles on the line with the Armstrongs, Jet and Nick Armstrong, being challenged by Could Be the Move, Snacks and Vincent Di Maria, and the up-and-coming tag team of CBTM managing to get the win with a little bit of cheekiness with a faked injury spot on the knee to the point where they had, Nick Armstrong helping carry, I believe it was Vinny, to the back. And then the turn where they revealed, just tricking, and got the win off it. I don't know. It was played up when you've got the heels breaking character to help someone to the back to get across the fake injury spot. It might just be a little far for me personally, especially because CBTM felt like the real clear baby faces going in here, and that did not feel like a babyface move. So I don't know if it was a turn because it almost wasn't nasty enough to definitely be a turn, but at the same time, it was not the actions of baby faces. Jeff, what did you think here?
My issue isn't so much the character break. My issue was that the referee threw up the X. The X should be just for injuries. If you want to do this, do it. It's fine. It's great. It's done 1,000 times. It's done very well. This was done well, but the second the referee throws up an X, people in the crowd will go, he's injured. Yeah, sure. You had us. Well done. The problem is then next time they throw up an X, people are just going to go, he's not injured, it's a work. Or they're not injured, it's a work. They're gonna roll over and be cheeky. So I have a bit more of a problem with that aspect of it. Look, as a match, it was a bit too short because most of this was Vinny being injured, and then it was an angle more than a match, which is fine. But I didn't like the use of the X, and I think it coloured my perception of the match probably a little bit. And I get that the Armstrongs are back together, but what made Nick so popular was the champ gimmick, and he should retain aspects of that. And it feels like it's a bit of a sad thing that's kind of just gone by the wayside. So it can be Nick and Jet again, who are a great tag team without a doubt. But I want to see them. I want to see the champ. But yeah, that's kind of my thoughts. I don't know whether you guys are in agreement.
A little bit with the X thing. Like, yeah, I'm not a big fan of that being used as just a story plot, like story beat moment. But yeah, I think the injury angle went on a little bit too long as well. Like he kind of just sat in the corner for a long time, and then eventually the Armstrongs came over and helped out. But I suspect they were trying to do the double turn because, like, from the moment the Armstrongs came out with the Sandman inspired entrance, it was like, oh, the crowd are loving them, so we're gonna flip them both. And I think we're just talking about like, oh, why are they putting them back together? I think it's probably because they see Snacks and Vinny as the future, and they want two sort of experienced guys to be their first feud and really help them get through as this tag team and establish them really strongly. Because CBTM are sneaky huge too.
Some bloke called Tood Iceman has said Armstrong's are faces, mate, and it was a clear turn for CBTM. I don't know what that guy is. I don't know what he thinks he knows. Whenever this Tood Eastman's always in the chat. Always.
Yeah, I definitely agree that I think it was a clear for CBTM, but I don't know. I just don't think they were assholey enough with it. You know what I mean? I really wanted to make a meal out of it and start, I guess, getting into the crowd about we fooled you, we fooled you. I could be wrong.
I feel like Snacks did that to the Armstrongs though. Like when he hit Jet and Nick in the back, he then sort of got in their face and like celebrated and taunted them like, you idiots, why did you fall for that type thing? So I think he did enough on that part.
Yeah, the thing, I will say one of the things that I liked about it, which I think was the thing that got me with it, was that the injury angle wasn't off a big move. It was, landing on his feet off a back body drop and then, kind of attempting to do something off it and then having it falter. I think the actual mechanics of the fake injury were quite good. I just don't love the way it played out from there, and I think that's just tweaks more than anything for me. But moving on to something that I really did like a lot was Mr. Cliff and Matt Grimmasso, with the stipulation that Mr. Cliff, coming in at 0 wins, 49 losses, was on his last chance, and if he lost this 50th straight match, his career was over. And watching Mr. Cliff overcome the odds and take down Grim, I thought this was bloody magic. There's no secret that we're fans of Mr. Cliff here. Really nice guy who we think has done awesome work, some massive improvements that we've seen, 50 matches on for Mr. Cliff. And, Grim's perfect in these kind of spots. I don't know what more you could ask for, really. Jamie, what did you think of this?
This was probably one of my favorite matches on the show. They worked this perfectly. Like, Grim looked like he was never going to lose. He just dominated Mr. Cliff, and sort of like what Jeff said about Hugh Beauty. Mr. Cliff is one of those people that proves that wins and losses ultimately don't necessarily matter, because for him to become such a massive fan favorite after almost 50 matches over the course of almost 3 years, losing all of them bar this one, and for the crowd to be so strongly behind him that when he kicked out at 1 after being chokeslammed, the reaction was massive, and I think that probably would have been enough. But then when he got the win, it was even louder, and I didn't expect them to go even higher once they sort of got to that peak.
Jeff?
Look, you guys know that I was going to be a fan of this. Cliff is such a great character. He's funny. He's got a sweetness about him. Even as a heel, there's a sweetness about the Mr. Cliff character, running around and just yelling out, "Detention!" and throwing detention papers to people. Really, really funny. The guy did a great job, and Grim made him look like $1 million. Like, let's not undervalue what Grim did in that ring. He was phenomenal. The big man's easily one of Australia's best big men, and he really made sure that Cliff looked amazing. I absolutely love this. I thought this was smart. It was fun. The crowd, you're right, Jamie, the crowd definitely got right behind Cliff pretty much from the get-go, but it absolutely bolted in here. The Cliff was the face. Cliff was the person to cheer, and absolutely that cheer when he got that 3 count was very loud. And even when he had that detention slip and he was putting it on him, and he eventually did, the crowd even popped for small things like that. And that's a credit to both of them, and they both worked really hard. And I've enjoyed this feud so much. I really have, because it started in such subtle ways, and it's just gotten bigger and bigger and bigger, and it's really paid off.
Yeah, and this is exactly where you see like long-term storytelling pay off, right? Because Mr. Cliff has been the butt monkey of everything in Riot City for the past few years. He always, like, that's the whole thing, is he cannot get a win. And not only that, he was one of the factors that often would lead the old guard to their losses, right? Is he would just be in the wrong place at the wrong time, and it'd all go pear-shaped, and nothing went right for Cliff. And then he finally gets one over on them. And because of how that story has progressed, the crowd was all the way there for him. You know what I mean? And it's such a simple story. It's the underdog gets a win. That's a really easy story. But the fact that they had played it out for 3 years, that they'd gone all the way to 49 losses with no wins at all to get to that moment, and to put it on the 300th show right with that perfect timing, I think this was phenomenal. Moving on, an RCW Emerald Crown title 4-way match with another new champion here, as Sigma managed to come out on top of the bitter old bastard Kai Toa and the former champ Zach Sabbath, with a little bit of help from some misplaced mist by Mickey Fortune. I'll start with you, Jeff. What did you think of Sigma becoming the new RCW Emerald Crown champion?
Really happy. I think the right person won this. It's quite clear that in this show, Riot City is saying, look, we're going towards, look at the younger people. Look at those who haven't been around for a while, and things like that, and are newer to the organization. Richard Gouda, Mr. Cliff, even CBTM, definitely are younger. So I think that they're trying to just keep moving forward. And I think Sigma's a great example of this. I really like this match. As a 4-way, it cracked along at a great pace. It was action, action, action. I think to be there live would have been amazing, because there were things happening all over the place. It wasn't just in ring. There was flips and bounces and power bombs and all kinds of things. Zach Sabbath always looks good. Bob is great. Kai Toa is great. I have no complaints about the people in this or the winner. And congratulations to Sigma. Well deserved. Really good.
Roddy in the chat saying RIP Zach Sabbath. Jamie, what did you think of this one? Muted, mate.
Muted. There we go.
Muted.
Yeah, all action 4-way. Very fun to watch. My one complaint was on the intros. Nobody worked the hard cam. They all worked the opposite side to where the hard cam was, so they had to cut it. And I was like, what's happening here? And I half expected Bob, Kaitoa, and Sigma to do that, and then Zach to be like, this is the way you should have been facing, guys. And even Zach did it the wrong way. And I was like, oh, someone's stuffed up here. But after that, once the match got going, I had no complaints with that. There was this balcony swanton from Zach was insane. And I love Kaitoa's double springboard cutter as well. I think that is an awesome move. Is that his finisher, or is that just a move in his arsenal? Because if it's not a finisher, it could very easily be.
It definitely should be his finisher, like if he can do it. I'm not 100% sure, but it looked spectacular.
It looked awesome, and it's a move you can hit on anyone, whether they're big, small. So yeah, definitely consider using that. And I love the idea of Mickey kind of being the downfall of Zach. So where does that leave their relationship, and where does that move forward? Because that's an incredible storyline that I want to see more of.
Yeah, especially with the way that the character of Mickey Fortune's been played recently, where, you know, like she was this, you know, force for good, and that's kind of turned, but then she was there for Zach, but now that's gone pear-shaped. Like, I think that there's just some really excellent, you know, Mickey Fortune's just such a consummate professional, as is Zach Sabbath. You know, those are guys who they always nail everything they do. And everything that they did, and Bob is another experienced guy, when you've got guys like Kaitoa and Sigma who are clearly, you know, going to be forces going forward, to make them look that good, I think that this was an excellent showcase for everyone involved. And I agree that I think Sigma was kind of always going to win this one. It was, you know, the next person who needed to have the feather in their cap, so to speak. So I think it was well done the way they got him the win and made him look, you know, insanely powerful without downplaying the other guys. It wasn't just Sigma coming in and dominating everyone. There were twists and turns along the way that ended with him getting the win in reasonably dominant fashion, which I think was excellent. Moving on, the main event, and for a show that moved along at a hell of a pace, it really all built up to this. Like I'm saying here, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 matches, including one of those being a rumble in a 2.5-hour show, is pretty phenomenal, especially when you consider that this main event went over 34 minutes. The RCW grand title on the line in a hardcore match. Chris Basso, the champion, Matt Hayter, the challenger, one of the most storied rivalries, one of the most storied relationships in not just Riot City, but in Australian wrestling. These two have been in same side of the ring, opposite sides of the ring for years now, and they showed what chemistry they have with Matt Hayter becoming the new champ. I'll pass it to Jeff first. Jeff, what did you think of this title change, and what did you think of Hayter versus Basso here?
Firstly, the title change is great. Like, Basso's had that for a fair while. He's had it for over a year. He's been an excellent champ. He's taken, you know that old phrase, he's taken on all comers. He literally has. He's made the entire RCW organization better for his title reign, which is exactly what you want. That is exactly what you want. Matt Hayter is the perfect person to be champion, to be the babyface champion right now. And I thought this match was terrific. I really, really did. It reminded you a little bit of the match that Basso and Delta had last year before she departed. It called back to that. It called back to the history between Hayter and Basso. There was a lot of telegraphing of moves in the way that you can go, oh, they know each other that well. They can telegraph each other's moves. It was never boring. It was never dull. It was fascinating, and I really, really enjoyed this. And I think that it was a suitable main event in RCW's biggest show. My only complaint is it was probably about 3 minutes too long. Towards the end, I felt myself getting a little bit sort of, okay, we've had the kick out of one, guys. Come on, move along, you know. But saying that, you know, it was a moment. And the moment in itself was great, and that's a very minor quibble into what otherwise was an excellent show.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie?
Yeah, for a match that was over 34 minutes long, I don't think it felt 34 minutes long. For me, it just moved along awesomely. The big things that stood out to me was it shows how much these two think very deeply about wrestling. Like, we knew the actual in-ring component between those two was always going to be awesome, but the promo package to lead into the match was fantastic in terms of recounting their entire history over the course of RCW many years. Hayter's gear being a absolute callback to Delta's gear when she won that same title. Them both using each other's like mannerisms throughout, like the Chris Basso did the thrust spot on the ground, and just so many callbacks of their previous matches, previous encounters, moves and things. Like, it was so good in that sense of they thought about this much more than your average wrestling fan. It's not just get in, okay, you do this move, I'll do that move, we'll go from there. It was just all of this cool stuff. And for a hardcore match, they did some really awesome production stuff as well with an actual steel chair in Aussie wrestling. I was like, that's
incredible.
Cool. it's not the Bunnings chair with the soft pad seat part. I was like, that's an actual steel chair. That's great. And then the ladder. When the ladder snapped, I was like, wow, that's a cool spot that you never see in Aussie wrestling. It's usually just a ladder from Bunnings, and if it slightly bends, it slightly bends. It never completely snaps. So just well done to
Jamie is sponsored.
Production.
And Jamie is sponsored you tonight by Bunnings. That's about the fourth reference, Jamie.
If I get free sausage, I'll take it.
Mate, and like the thing that I have to point out is that lowest prices are just the beginning, right? It's absolutely unbelievable. No, I am often picked on for overthinking when it comes to watching wrestling, and this is the kind of match that rewards reading deeply into what people are doing, because you can clearly see that Hayter and Basso are the kind of performers that read deeply into how they're going to structure the match, what they're going to call back to, what they're going to reference, what they're pulling on at this point, what this is a callback to, and what that is a reaction to. And to have all of that while at the same time doing a ridiculous spot fest hardcore match, I was so impressed with this. I do think that partially because every other match seemed to fly by on this card, it did, despite the fact that it didn't seem to be 34 minutes, it did feel epic, right? Like when you've got, when your Rumble goes 19 minutes.
Yeah.
Sorry, Jeff.
I guess that's, I was going to say, I guess that's what I'm trying to say is it less felt draggy and more epic. And I think some of that, the epic could have been trimmed. I don't know what I'm trying to say now. But yeah, I think...
I get what you're saying.
That last little bit with all the run-ins probably could have been trimmed out. That bit felt a bit stretched out.
Yeah.
And it did feel a little bit WWE WrestleMania rather than truly representative of Riot City, which I think a lot of the other stuff that was going on in this match felt like this is Riot City.
Yeah, but don't forget that this is their WrestleMania. This is their 300th show. If they're ever going to capture new people to come and see everything else, it's this show.
And there's also, you know, the other side of the coin, which is like Roddy Online says run-ins are the best. I want 40.
I did like that it sort of allowed Hayter to have that ultimate of like, I overcame incredibly stacked odds with the entire old guard coming out to help defend this title. Yeah. So now that I have defeated them, there is no disputing it. I am the top dog of RCW.
Oh, sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I will be interested to see what the future holds for that championship. My guess is Dean Brady. Like he just seems like the guy, right? And then you've got the story of, does Chris Basso go, all right, thanks for bringing it back to the old guard. Now lay down for me. And Dean says no. That's the story that I would be very excited to see, especially considering Dean's got the key to the card.
I'm going the different way. I think that Dean Brady wins and they beat the shit out of Chris Basso for losing in the first place. That's kind of interesting because then he has to go back to Hayter. By numbers, he's got to go back to Hayter and he's got to go, I'm sorry, I was an asshole. And that's not in Chris Basso's current character. And neither is it in Hayter's character to accept the apology. There's a lot of interesting ways they could go with this. It's fascinating.
It's very like Hangman Swerve of, no, you were a total dick to me. I'm not going to accept your help. But ultimately, I have to because otherwise neither of us is going to come out on top.
They could really go
exactly.
But I thought this was fantastic.
I also really enjoyed, I don't know if you boys have seen the promo with, can someone remind me of the manager's name that was working with the old guard? Was it Michael?
Richard, no, not Richard Gooder.
It escapes me right now. Yes, absolutely go to the Riot City Facebook page and check out the video that he cut where he left the old guard after being given a letter telling him in no uncertain terms that he had to leave, and then some nonsense about him not wearing pants. Definitely worth checking out there as the storyline progresses forward. And look, RCW is going to keep moving. 300 shows is absolutely a milestone worth celebrating. So a massive congratulations to everyone involved, not just for making it to 300 shows, but for putting on a show the quality of RCW 300 while they are 300 shows in. These things don't just happen. The amount of work that goes into a production of this quality is massive. So it is absolutely a credit to everyone down at RCW for getting to this milestone in the way that they have. Alex Fireheart in the chat with exactly the right comment. 300's a massive deal. Plenty of Aussie feds would be lucky to hit 100.
Oh,
that
absolutely.
venue is awesome as well.
And
the brewing, yeah.
The name you were looking for is Benjamin Rosenthal.
Benjamin Rosenthal. Thank you, Jeff. Yeah, Rosenthal's promo there was absolutely fantastic. So massive shout out to everyone involved in RCW 300. If you haven't watched it, my goodness, it is absolutely worth your time because, like we said, basically everything there was at least exciting and interesting. Jeff?
And not just the people that you can see on screen as well. Let's credit their training facility and everyone that works at their training facility to get the next generation of workers over. So there's people like Zach Sabbath, Mickey Fortune, Matt Hayter, the Bassos. All of those people work so hard to do it. We've also got the crew who actually put the show together. So the camera team, the editing team, the commentary team, and there were 2 commentary teams making things a little harder and a little... You'd think it would be harder to watch with 2 distinct commentary teams, but it actually worked perfectly, as well as the referees there. They did a great job because you didn't notice them. When you don't notice a referee, they're doing a damn good job. I'm absolutely thrilled for Riot City. Yeah, I have a little bit of an investment in them. Obviously, they're our partners at WrestleBrania there in Adelaide, and we love that. And, I sent them all messages the day before or the morning of, just congratulating them, and they were really, really lovely, and the responses were beautiful. So to my friends at Riot City, congratulations. But just remember, it takes a nation, as they say. It took a nation to put this together. It takes a nation to put 300 shows together, and it's fantastic.
Yeah, and we won't pretend to be unbiased. We know that Todd's an RCW kid and always will be. So all of the people involved, very close to us here at WRA. So a massive shout out. And a message has just come through from Todd that says Benjamin Rosenthal. Thanks, Todd. Well timed there, buddy. Appreciated.
15 minutes ago says hello as well, Todd.
And just while we mentioned the commentary there, like shout out to Angus Dacey, who is one of the best in the business. You know what I mean? Like just everything that they've got going on is so fantastic. Big Brody Marshall doing a great job on commentary and GM as well. So everyone behind the scenes is smashing it. Everyone in front of the camera is smashing it. Just really excellent stuff. So worth checking out RCW 300 for free on YouTube. And while we're talking about shows that are, hang on, I'll give Maddie a second to take a breath after that drink. While we're talking about shows that are free on YouTube, it's time to talk about Mayhem Pro's Bad to the Bone. We love talking about the shows that Mayhem Pro is putting up, and everything that they're doing at the moment, especially out at Bacchus Marsh, is really showcasing a lot of the up-and-coming talent in the Victorian scene, as well as some established stars who really just make for a solid card up and down. This one was special with an induction of George Julio into the Oz Pro Wrestling Hall of Fame, being a bit of a centerpiece for this show, as well as a main event coffin match, which is, one of those match types that you do not get to see every day. So it's special when they come up. But opening this show, someone that obviously we're huge fans of here at Making Chicken Salad, Edward Dusk managing to get a win over MJ Russo, the former Zed Nitrox. Let's kick it off with Jamie. What did you think of Edward Dusk and MJ Russo?
This is my first time seeing MJ, and he did not look out of place here with Dusk, which could very easily have happened, but I thought he looked like he belonged in there. He really took his time, had the crowd just hating him and wanting him to get beat up by Dusk, and seeing Dusk sort of really come into his own as a face is also really exciting. Like, it was I think this is the perfect match to open this show. The well-known Edward Dusk kicking things off, but then MJ Russo hanging with him and looking like he belonged there.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff?
I think MJ Russo's got a huge future. He's really, really good. And, you know, I mean, Dusky, by the way, he's going to kill you, Lachlan.
I know.
Dusky you're not getting out of the kitchen that easily, man. You got a stack of dishes to atone for.
I didn't really do anything bad. Todd just put me in hot water and now I'm doomed, but go on.
I don't know. You made that graphic the other week.
You made the graphic
I
the other
did.
week.
I didn't make the graphic.
You made the graphic the other week, man. I'm just relaying
You're
what
the graphic
guy. Dusky is so good. You don't see him for a little bit and you forget how good he is. And he's good at the small stuff. He's good at the aside character stuff. I like this so much. I really did. And I think that, this was a good match for MJ Russo.
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, we can say that Edward Dusk is good until the cows come home, right? For a guy that it's bizarre that he's not just on top of the Australian scene, because it feels like he is such a stalwart of everything that Aussie wrestling is. It's just like, yeah, Dusky, he's, you know, one of those guys that's always been there at the top. And he's not. He's only been around for a handful of years, and he is just that good and that perfect for what he's doing. Love it. As Macho Man Andy Savage said in the chat, feels like Dusk might be back in Mayhem to ultimately be involved with Jab, which is a feud I really want to see. That seems really exciting. I do like that it seems like Edward Dusk is getting established with some of these younger guys, right? So we had him and MJ Russo here, and then ended up getting up close and personal with Blake Malik later in the show. I like, you know, making sure that he's got those guys that are getting that seasoning, are getting that, you know, last bit of edge to what they're doing. He's a perfect guy to make sure that everyone's firing on all cylinders. MJ Russo, I think, is really coming into his own. I think, you know, Zed Nitrox was fun, but this new kind of more straight up and down wrestler persona really is working, and I love what he's doing. Mostly, though, the thing that I was focused on how good it was in this match was the commentary team of Zali Gold and Matty Huss, who I think both were just absolutely superb. Great voices for it, great knowledge base. I think that production-wise, for a show that, you know, Mayhem is a promotion that is really pushing some of the guys with less experience, some of the performers who have been in less, you know, big-time promotions. The feel of the production is absolutely top-notch. So to Maddie and Zali, and I unfortunately can't remember the name of the ring announcer at the moment, but just excellent work from all of... What was that? Sorry, Jeff?
Shane,
yeah.
Hero.
Just excellent stuff all round, you know, really making it feel like a big show. So real big props to everyone involved there. Moving on to a tag
ramp as well. I love the entrance ramp as well. It's like, it's really simple, but they've covered it in all of the Mayhem and Relentless branding. So it's not just the Bacchus Marsh Hall. It's almost like it's the Mayhem arena, very sort of WCW-esque on how that entranceway is laid out as well, which is definitely a JXT influence.
Yeah, I was going to say, well, you know, you know that JXT is a massive fan of WCW. Like, massive.
As soon as I saw it, I was like, oh, JXT's hands are all over this.
So moving on to a tag team match with the team of Cousin Ali and Paul Fury up against Scotty Roach and Tom Crow. The bad guys, Roach and Crow, managing to get a win here. over Ali and pumping Paul. We've talked about really enjoying the work of Paul Fury recently. Every time I see him, I'm just excited to see him again. As far as like big guys go, I think that he has a lot of upside. And I think Roach and Crow really delivered with what they were doing here. Jeff, what did you think?
I like this so much. And let's not forget that Cousin Ali is also such a good, like, bigger guy that can move at such a good pace and really, really delivered in this. The team of Paul Fury and Ali intrigues me quite a bit. And Roach and Crow, they held up their end perfectly. My only complaint about this isn't actually about this itself, but I would have probably put this a little bit later because there were a lot of tag matches in this show, and you kind of want to break them up because this went from one tag straight into another tag. And I think that had they broken that up, it probably would have been a little bit more watchable, and it was incredibly watchable anyway. My one issue with this, and I'm gonna disagree with you slightly, is that Matty Huss on commentary. I've heard he's an alcoholic. I've heard he's a complete drunkard. So I think that we need to kind of keep an eye on that because we wouldn't want the Mayhem crew having any issues with him in the future. Because apparently, every time someone says free on YouTube, he's gone again. He's off.
He's off the wagon. Yeah,
getting shit-faced. No, but seriously,
we need to put together an investigation onto what Matty Huss is doing, and then put it up for free on YouTube.
For free on YouTube, exactly. But no, they did a great job.
Matty Huss says, "I'm just trying to get a gig on Wrestle Rock."
Mate, you'd be too sober for that anyway. Every time we have Chris Fresh on Wrestle Brand, he insists on doing that toast. It's quite funny. But yeah, this is great. Big fan of all of these. And I think Scotty Roach and Tom Crow as a tag team worked really well together. And I'd like to see more of them.
Absolutely. Jamie?
Yeah, it was the Scotty Roach and Tom Crow team that really stood out to me. I thought they had a nice sort of debut as a team here. I loved their sort of double team finisher, like the almost like double dog shot to the back of the head type thing was awesome. And the spot that really stood out to me was the Scotty Roach high boot to Ali in the corner, knocking him out, but it almost led to Cousin Ali getting the win because he just fell on top of Scott. And Scott was like, I can't get up, and just had to touch the rope just to get the rope break. I thought that was an awesome little spot that really solidified as Scotty Roach can knock you out, but if Ali falls on you, you're done.
Yeah, I like that stuff a lot. Moving on, as you said, immediately into another tag team match. This one was a 6-man and saw tag teams teaming up with singles to form.
Did we lose Lachlan?
Sorry, Jeff?
What did you? I think you lost me for a second. Sorry, Lachlan, you were saying moving on.
Tut, Jeff. So the team of the Physicals were up with Sketch, and on the other side of the ring, the Cycle, Magnus Colbeck and Mitch Connors, teamed up with Jake Navarra. That team managing to get a cheeky win as the Cycle got up to their nefarious means and, used the numbers to their advantage. I think a clever way to get all of these people into the card, have Jake Navarra, who was coming out after this immediately, to be able to be in a match, be on the kind of heel side without necessarily having to be cheating himself right before he was, in a bit of a nice spot for the night. So I think that was clever. Sketch is obviously a big favorite, but, I can't not focus on the Physicals. I love what Jimmy Castle and Johnny Jets are doing. It's such a fun team that's just nailing what those characters are. Jamie, do you agree?
Yeah, I agree. I think, like Jeff was saying, maybe having back-to-back tag matches probably wasn't the best idea, but I think what made it okay in my mind was this was a very different style of tag match than the one before. The previous one was kind of your meaty men slapping meat type match. This one was high-flying craziness from the start with dives and flips and all sorts of crazy things going on. And my big issue with this one was the ending. I did not like that ending because it was so obviously in the ropes for the pinfall. They kind of made the ref look like a fool. Like if it was barely holding the feet over the ropes, it would have been okay. But it was like his whole from waist down was through the legs, was through the ropes. I was like, that pulled me.
And he was right there on the outside too, like very visible.
Yeah. So apart from that, awesome.
Jeff?
I thank you. I liked a lot about this match. I really think the cycle is something. Mitch and Magnus they've got so much presence for henchmen, if you know what I mean. That they, we can see that they're beginning to kind of break away from jab a little bit, which is only good for them. Jake Navarra is such a good worker. Like, you forget how good he is because he principally only works Mayhem. He doesn't do a lot of other stuff. And he's such a good worker and such a good talker. Look, I like this a lot. I just think that it was a little bit of tag team match overkill. I probably would have put the Battle Royal in here, then the match, and then the Julio induction, the George Julio induction. But, look, it wound up being the way it did. And I don't think it was terrible. I just felt a bit tired of tag. I wanted to see something a bit different. Saying that, this was great. The physicals are absolutely stars. And, when I spoke to them, they said they've taken a lot from Tully and Arn in terms of, presentation. But then, there is a lot of the Rock and Roll Express and even the Midnights and things like that writ large in them, and they're great. I know that Sid trains them quite a bit, and you can see that. Like when you watch Sid wrestle and then you watch these boys wrestle, you're like, yeah, I can see that. That makes sense. But yeah, great match, and a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Moving on, as you mentioned, the George Julio Hall of Fame induction for the PW Down Under Hall of Fame. Really nice having, the Relentless coaches come up and speak, and having George be able to, put over how nice it was to have that recognition. I thought this was really nice and was immediately followed up by a bad to the bone battle royal kind of in service of George. This was a over-the-top rope battle royal that had Ashak, Anth Kava, Ben Barnett, Elaine Hope, Killian Bates, Lockie, Matt Farrow, Maddie Hayne, Maddie Pierce, Mitch Waterman, The Musketeer, Roderick Matthews, Rowan, Sean FX, TJ Wild, and Xavier St. Clair all getting amongst it, with the Musketeer standing tall at the end. And then afterwards, some fun business with Mitch Waterman getting involved, not too happy about the end, and the Hitman himself able to knock down his former protege Waterman. And the picture that came into my head was, I don't know if you guys remember when they did like an old school Raw episode, and Moxley, or Ambrose at the time, took the DDT from Jake the Snake Roberts and had the snake on top of him and just couldn't stop smiling while he was supposed to be selling. Like, that's what I pictured from Waterman here. Like, clearly Mitch was, there to be able to give a little bit of a shine to George, which I think was really nice to see. I liked the Musketeer getting the win here. I think he's a good person to give that bit of hype to. I liked the business after the match. Obviously they're working on storylines like the Cavarack going on in this match. I think that just overall, this was a well-done battle royal that went to a lot of places that benefited the people involved. Jeff?
Yeah, no argument here. I think that what struck me is how good Matty Hayne is in the early stages of that battle royal. He came out looking really, really good. There was a lot to like. It kind of struck me that Elaine Hope was the only non-male gendered person in the battle royal. I think it could have done with one or two others. If you're going to have one, have a couple more in there. And in kind of my thought, like the way they do in Sydney. Sydney often has cross-gender battle royals, but with 3 or 4 different females. Saying that, I really like the spot where Lockie had her in his arms and was just swinging her around like in the old Three Stooges spot. I thought that was a bit of fun. Yeah, this was nice. It was clearly to give George his moment with Mitch as well. I mean, Waterman does everything so well. Like even this brief, and I'm sure that's it for Mitch as a heel. Like I don't think it's going to go any further for Mitchie as a heel. For a start, he's too good looking, and secondly, like
he's too damn good.
He's too damn.
Look, I know that Kava's gimmick is being the guy who's a body guy, but how can you do that when Waterman is coming out looking like that? Jesus Christ.
Waterman's another one on the body biz. Like they're all on the body biz. And interestingly enough, this week, if you haven't seen it, Bronson Reed came out and said, like he's in a video with Sheamus where he's talking about his trainer, Slex. He's actually talking about Slex, which is fantastic. So he's on the body biz as well. But look, this was great. A lot of fun. It was silly and fun and exactly what you wanted there before they get down to some more of the hefty storytelling. And I think it's great that Muskie won. I think Muskie's terrific, and I'll have something to do with Muskie quite soon that I'll be announcing.
Ooh, that's exciting. Alex Fireheart says, not going to lie, whenever I hear people talk about the Musketeer, I keep thinking of the ECW guy first, then remember Australia has one now also. Roddy Online says, giving your mate a pile driver and looking down at them giggling instead of selling is all time. Alex Fireheart says, too good looking is a good reason to boo someone sometimes, to be fair, in response to Mitch Waterman there. And Macho Man Andy Savage with another great point. Dusk has abs you could grate cheese on earlier in this show. Like, I tell you what, whoever did put that poster together for WRA the other week using the old picture of Dusky, like, yeah, sure, Jamie, sure. Like, you can... It's the man who's not here. We can talk smack about him as much as we want. Yeah, like, Jesus, that body biz is something, isn't it? Alex Fireheart says envy can be a good motivator to boo someone. And Matty Huss says there was some serious heat on Muskie in the locker room when he arrived without his MCW horse. Definitely understandable there.
Muskie is so good. He's that guy who can be a heel in Renegades and Wrestle Rock and then be a face. Like, he got massive pops at MCW. He got huge pops at MCW and huge pops here. So the guy can do it all. Like, it's just a matter of time until someone just goes, we're going to use you a lot more.
Yep, absolutely. Jamie, what did you think of this Battle Royal?
So before we even get into the Battle Royal, like, I was honored to make a special set of cards for the George Julio induction for PW Down Under. So if anybody got those, can you tag me in photos of you holding those cards? Because I want to see them in real life, because I never got to see them in real life. I just designed them and sent them off. So
oh, wow.
I want to see them. That'd be nice. But in terms of the actual Battle Royal, I thought this was fun. It had a ton of fun spots. Like Jeff mentioned, the Elaine and Lockie aeroplane spin spot was great fun. The Cavarack leading straight to an elimination was cool. And then when we got down to the final five, Ben Barnett pulling out a multi and realizing he wasn't in the final four on his multi, so he just tossed himself out so that he at least won his multi. I was like, that's a great way to just get rid of someone without having them like toss someone. So that was cool.
Just quickly, Matty Huss in the chat saying George signed a bunch of them too, Jamie. He loved them.
Yay. It's awesome. And yeah, I loved that like spot at the end with Mitch and George sort of having their little moment, because right throughout this, Matt Huss was mentioning on the commentary that, yeah, George trained Mitch. So I'm like, oh, well, Mitch is probably winning this then. This is going to be like those two have their big moment together. And then when Mitch got eliminated, I was like, oh, what the hell? But then...
That's what I like about Mayhem, is that they will lead you one way and then snap it around to the other. It happened with me in the main event, which will come too soon. But, you know, I was like, oh, yeah, this is what's going to happen. No. Muskie's going to win.
And it still worked, because Muskie got a great reaction for the win. And then,
but it's not a swerve for the sake of a swerve. It's a swerve for the sake of storytelling.
Yeah.
And I mean, if this does wind up leading to a feud between Muskie and Mitch, everyone wins. That'll be fun.
Yeah, from this show, I think that's what Mayhem and the Relentless team do so well. When they've got access to people like Mitch and Dusk and Jab and Sid Parker, and even like Lockie and Erica, they're putting them with these new up-and-coming people to help bring them up to that similar level. They're not just like, oh, we've got Dusky and Jab. Let's just put them together because we know that'll sell tickets.
Yeah, absolutely. And exactly what we're talking about here, another fun matchup coming after this, was Funtime Phil and Blake Malik. But this one not ending the way you might think. Funtime Phil getting the win by DQ and not looking to stop there, attempting to Pillmanize Funtime Phil, but getting stopped by not only referees coming out, but the entire locker room emptying, and specifically Edward Dusk getting right in the face of Malik to protect Funtime Phil. I really like that kind of establishes the locker room as a real world place where all of the good guys in the locker room are going to see a guy that they like Funtime Phil, about to get hurt, and they're going to go, no, we've got to get out there and stop it. Like, it feels real. It feels like, we're not just seeing storylines play out. We're seeing what would happen if someone tried to Pillmanize someone. Is everybody who likes that person on the ground going, no, I'm not letting that happen. So I think that's just good construction of a world. It's good world building in the sense of kayfabe. I think that Edward Dusk and Blake Malik could have an absolute belter coming up. I like that this gives edge to Malik. I think that Funtime Phil doesn't lose anything by taking a pretty sick beating. I think this is good business. Jamie?
Yeah, I would agree. I loved Phil's always entertaining, and if you're going to try and establish Blake as a heel, Phil's the guy to put him in there against. And then with Blake, I loved how he blamed the crowd for his actions of what he tried to do to Phil. But then he lost me a little bit when he went up the ramp and then kind of chucked a little bit of a tantrum when all the faces came out for the rescue. I was like, just soak it in. Lean more into the psychotic, you've had a mental snap and broken, not the angry child. He kind of went in the match. He was the psychotic, violent, I'm going to hurt this guy. And then when he went up the ramp, he turned into the kid chucking a tantrum. And I was like, okay, which heel are you? The petulant child or the psycho?
Yep. Jeff?
Why not both? I like this because it finally... Never interrupt me. I'm getting Dusky onto you for sure after that. That's just... I like this because it
Does
finally...
Dusky hate Old El Paso?
Probably.
He probably likes authentic Mexican.
Yeah.
He's not a cheap
I like this. I like this because it was a really refreshing take from Malik. Malik has had that thing where he's been really, really good in ring, and he's a competent guitarist. So he comes out wielding the axe, and people are going, "This guy's good. Let's give him a round of applause." And then there's no definitive way to go with him, but this actually bedded him in as no, he's an asshole. Boo that man. Boo that man. Boo that man. And I like that. I really like the commentary work as well. I think the commentary team played up his heel persona and his psycho break as much as they could. I do agree with you, Jamie. There was that mixed signal. It definitely kind of threw me a little bit. I think that he works better because of his size and his clear abilities. He works better as that, guy who could, excuse the pun, snap at any moment. And then, sorry, you shook your head there, Lachlan. Is there something wrong?
Clown flashbacks. Go on.
Okay. And then, I think that Phil is the perfect opponent for him to begin this. I really like that it seems like Mayhem started down a road of having JXT and Fox together as a team, and then kind of they pulled back on that, at least for now, because I think that Fox or Phil particularly is more value as a babyface in that roster because it's a very heel-heavy roster, and I think that Phil should be a babyface for a while. Even if JXT wants to be a heel, he's great, but I think that they specifically need to keep Phil a babyface for a bit.
Absolutely. Speaking of strong baby faces, Erica Reed, the champion of Mayhem Pro, in tag team action with Jahari up against the team of Nate Hunter and Lockie Hendricks. Lockie having the number one contendership here and Nate Hunter being accompanied by Xavier St. Clair. I really like the way that they teamed up two clear heels to be the heel tag team taking on the face champion and friend, right? I think Jahari is coming a long way quickly. There's so many good things to say about Nate Hunter. Obviously, Lockie and Erica are both really established, and they're going to be the top of the card moving forward, so that there is that like solid top level stuff going on that brings people in to see all of those fresher people underneath. And I think they did a great job here of, making that storyline still involve those other people. I think obviously everyone here knew exactly what their role was. I kind of wish that Xavier St. Clair wasn't also in the Battle Royal, because I think the role here was almost more important in that kind of high level heel, defending Nate Hunter, making him look like a jerk who relies on the hired security. I think Lockie Hendricks did a perfect job of getting out of dodge whenever trouble looked like it was coming and not taking any of those big things and making the crowd want to see him get his ass beaten by Erica. Like, that's just perfect old school heel mentality that I think, Lockie's great at. Erica and Jahari are both fantastic. Erica especially. Like, there's a reason that everything in terms of women's wrestling in Victoria seems to revolve around Erica at the moment, because she is that good. And there's, she is the ace of Mayhem at the moment. I think that this was great. I think the way that commentary called 13-12 made it really clear what the team of Erica and Jahari stand for. So well done to both the team for having that really clear name for the finish and the commentary team for making it clear. I think there was a lot to like here. Jeff?
Agreed, completely. In fact, I'll go as far as to say, for me, this was match of the show. But there was no way this was ever going to be bad. You mentioned how far Jahari has come. How good does Nate Hunter look? Every time he steps in that ring, he looks better and better and better. The guy is going to be a star. He's got the right attitude in that he doesn't want to be liked out there. He's not doing the smarmy heel stick of, I'm actually a nice guy. No. He's out there to be a prick, and he's damn good at it. I agree with you with 100% with Xavier St. Clair. It would have been so much more effective if he hadn't been in the Battle Royal just a couple of matches before. Saying that, though, everyone involved in this match did such a good job. I enjoyed this so completely. The right team won because for the first time ever, you saw Lockie question his destiny. Like, he's been talking for months about how that internet championship is his destiny. It is my destiny. It is my everything, is his destiny. But this is the first time you saw him go, I can be beaten. And the interesting thing is, where's this leave Lockie and Nate? Because they had formed a little bit of a unit. What does that do to them? Look, there's so many questions here as well. I really like this. I think anytime you get to watch Erica Reed wrestle, it's always great, and especially the team with Jahari. Look, there was so much to like here. I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the Erica and Jahari team. And Lachlan, you mentioned sort of Lockie always getting out of dodge whenever something looked like it was bad was going to happen. I went even a step further, and I noticed he didn't have any interaction with Erica apart from holding her for the loaded up elbow shot, which ended up backfiring. But they didn't touch. Up until then, they didn't touch at all, which is the ultimate kind of like put them in a match, but not have them interact, which is the ultimate tease for I want to see that match when it does come down the line. So I thought that was so well thought out of, if we're going to be in here, we shouldn't be wrestling at all. I'll just keep tagging out, or anytime, like even when she got the hot tag and Lockie was in, the ref didn't see it, so that they didn't get to interact at all. I was like, that's just so well thought out and planned. Of don't give anything away. Make people come back for the next show when they might face off next time. So really well done by everyone involved. And Johari looked awesome. That's I think my first time seeing him in a match, and I will happily see more of Erica and Johari's tag team anywhere.
Yeah, I think most of what I've seen Johari do was, part of that cycle storyline where he was Joseph, right? So being able to see him do his thing as Johari was really cool. I like what he's doing there. Moving on. Now, I do have to ask Jeff, as the Melbourne resident here, when we had JXT versus Tommy A, and JXT get the win defending AFL against Rugby, do people really care about Aussie rules as a code in Victoria?
You're asking the wrong fucking guy, man. You are asking way the wrong human being.
Because it just felt like such a weird storyline. Like, oh, I'm the heel and I'm here to declare that rugby is better than Aussie rule. Like, what?
I think they do.
They absolutely do. They certainly do.
Yes.
I think they do. And I think, JXT, the human being behind JXT, absolutely adores his Aussie rules. Like, if you follow him for longer than 5 minutes, then, all of his socials feature him going to games.
You'll see him at a Western Bulldogs game at some point.
With the Bulldogs and, him wearing the Bulldogs flag. It's fantastic. Look,
all I know about Aussie rules is the children up here hate it because it's not rugby league. That's all I know.
Now, here we go.
It's the same thing in Melbourne.
To me, there we go. To me, being a Perth boy,
no way.
That wasn't going to happen. I don't give two cups of fuck about either of them, really. And I think that it's quite amusing. I find it all amusing. It's like when we had Michael Chamberlain come and do a show. Michael is Rove's writer. So when Rove used to do Rove Lives, Michael was one of his writers. And he came out and he goes, oh, it's horrible to be in Melbourne, having to go on your trams. We've got a light rail. We go from one side of one stop to another and then back again. And then Tommy Hellfire goes, Mike, I don't know if you read the running sheet, but you're on the face. It's that kind of thing, it's that kind of silly rivalry that, next time Tommy A comes out, he'll be a face and no one will remember it. It doesn't matter. I mean, when Wahlberg was here, he got huge heat by being the guy from Sydney. And I imagine, as I said last week, we'll see the same thing when eventually North Shore wankers come down here. It'll be the same sort of heat. And really, that's the heat they go for anyway. The match was good, for what it's worth. The match was really good.
Yeah, it was. Jamie?
Yeah, I like the match for what it was. It was a solid match. I would have liked to see some more AFL or rugby inspired stuff in there, because it kind of just felt like it was up to the commentary to get that story across of it's a rugby guy versus an AFL guy. And I think commentary did a great job of incorporating some footy puns and references in there to make it seem like that was the case. But the match itself was just standard match wrestling fare. There was no, I would have liked to see an AFL mark or something in there at some point, just like him climbing up the back of someone.
I do think, though, that like that kind of storyline and that kind of match is perfect for this spot on the card, right? What we've just had is the tag team match that's teasing the thing going forward with the main title, and then the next matchup is a big, psychological warfare coffin spectacle. You need something that's just a bit of a fun wrestling match that the crowd can buy into on simple terms. And like Matty Huss is right, the 30-odd slightly inebriated fellas from the local footy team in the crowd certainly cared, right? So you've got the crowd on side. Alex Fireheart makes a great point, and yet JXT's finisher isn't a bulldog. What a crock. Yeah, I think that this was, not the most thrilling match I've ever seen, but if it had done more, that would almost feel like a problem for where it was in the card. So I think they kind of nailed exactly what they were doing here.
I got to agree with Roddy Online, who's just said the fun match is the match for the parents who aren't wrestling fans. And I think that that's kind of right. Interestingly enough, their next event on August 23, Guilty as Charged, taking a little bit from ECW there, JXT, not just WCW. It's at the St. Petca Hall in Rockbank on the 23rd of August. Tickets for Front Row Juniors are already sold out. Like they've already gone. Awesome. Interestingly enough, all other tickets are available. Front Row Adult, General Admission Adult, and General Admission Juniors. They're all still available. I think it was silly fun, and it delivered in spades. And you're right, it's that the reprieve between two heavily storyline driven matches.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of that heavy storyline coming into the end of the show, coffin match, Jab managing to get the win over Sid Parker, who I loved seeing Sid come out as Sid, but without the makeup, right? Like, really excellent way to get across who Sid is, but the intensity that the story has laid on him, that he is now, the man. He is Aaron, who got, brought out by Jab, but he is also Sid Parker, and seeing the blend of those two identities here, I think was really excellent. Having the jacket and the mohawk, but without the makeup, I think really is a great look for Sid that manages to get across who he is after all of the evolution that he's done, in real life as well as within this story in Mayhem, to where he is now as a wrestler. I love Jab's theatricality. This match was insanity. The stuff that they did was wild. I love that they're keeping Jab as a kind of scary end boss for Mayhem. I really enjoyed a lot of what they did here. Jamie, what did you think?
Yeah, I really enjoyed this one as well. A little bit of confusion over like that false finish spot where they kind of almost put Sid in the coffin, but they mustn't have because the match continued, but the bell rang. I'm a little bit lost here, but yeah, still very nicely done, and almost a face turn for Jab with him like refusing help from the disciples initially, but then ultimately kind of they were the ones that got him the win. But yeah, really, really enjoyable, brawling all over the venue. And I love that they didn't overdo the like trying to push the guy into the coffin. Like that's always the big problem with these sort of matches, like this like casket matches, buried alive, ambulance matches. They do the guy's holding onto the edge of it, doesn't want to go in, and the other guy's just like holding him there and trying to push him in. They didn't overdo that. It was kind of, there was only like 2-3 spots where someone almost went in, and that was enough. And yeah, really enjoyable, great main event. Jab is just got that character part down to a T.
Yeah, Jeff?
Oh, look, Jab is relatively young in his career, and he is so good. And that speaks volumes for his work and his intelligence. He's got a theatre background. If you've seen the interview I cut with him in March, He's always thinking about that character, and he's always thinking about, and it's a lesson to younger workers, doing less for more results, and then pulling a match like this where he's doing more for the same result, but it looks fantastic. Let's be clear, Jab absolutely had to win this. There was no doubt that Jab had to win this match to still be considered any threat, be it a babyface or a heel. Jab has to win this. I like this a lot. I think there was a little bit too much overplayed with Marcus and Magnus. I think that I understand why. Magnus and Mitch, I'm sorry. Mitch Connors. I understand why there was that little bit more in there, but I think it would have been nice if we had just a touch less. But saying that, what a great match. Like, a lot of fun. As much as Mayhem are clearly a family-friendly organization, this was a serious bit of work. Like, really, really good. And I've got to agree with Matty House. Shout out to Jamie for his great, insightful interview with Jab recently. Seek it out and give it a listen. And I don't know if you found the same thing, Jamie. Jab is always thinking about that character. That character is almost in his mind. The human being behind Jab is a very different person to Jab. Very different person, as came through on your interview as well. But he always thinks about that character and thinks about the representation of that character and how to grow it and the next steps, either as a babyface or a heel. And I think that that's writ large in this match. It really is. They're both thinking about their characters and thinking about being true to that character, and it's great to see. I absolutely love this. I thought, as a way to end the show, it's brave to not necessarily send the fans home happy, but give them something to think about. And again, as with echoed through Riot City and Mayhem as well, they could go in so many directions with this. Fantastic.
I do have one minor complaint, and it's to do with staging of a coffin match, right? And this is feedback that I also gave to Atomic Pro Wrestling, because I was commentating up there, and they had a coffin match at about the same time that this happened. And it was the same thing, which is the way the coffin is placed, it kind of has to open so that the opening allows the wrestlers to move in from the ring. So the hinge has to be away from the ring. But what happens is if you then put it kind of staged down, when it opens, it blocks the view of the crowd that are sitting on kind of that hard cam style side. What the people you're normally performing towards are then blocked from seeing anything. So it becomes a really awkward staging where the way WWE have always done it is they've had the coffin at the ramp side. So you have most of the crowd not being blocked off by that coffin lid. It is really tricky in the smaller venues, and especially with some of the staging, I think you might have to get a bit creative with it, and maybe rather than putting the coffin where you would logically put it past the stage, maybe even putting it on the side, even just so that only one side of the crowd is blocked rather than kind of everyone out radiating in that direction. It's a weird thing to work around.
Have it a bit lower, maybe?
Yeah, it's tricky staging wise, but that's the only real piece of feedback I've got, because the fact that they're able to do kind of that wild gimmick and make the match as crazy as they did, and yet still have that kind of, ethos in the storytelling, I thought was really impressive. Yeah, and, it goes to show that Mayhem Pro, for a, quote unquote developmental brand, because we've talked about how much they're pushing forward this young talent. But when you look at guys like Jab, who are young talent, who have just exploded because these shows are of such high quality, and they've been able to show off these young people, it goes to show that everything they're doing is working. So Mayhem Pro's Bad to the Bone is, Matty Huss, free on YouTube. you can go, you can check it out, search for Mayhem Pro. You'll be able to find Bad to the Bone really easily, or click the link in the description of the podcast and you'll be able to hear Matty Huss's beautiful commentary over the whole thing. Like, overall, what a great production on a show here that shows off a lot of young talent and just does some awesome work. Overall, really impressive.
Really good show, and I think it's a matter of time before someone picks up Jab and goes, "Okay, this guy's a star," and use him sparingly. Don't overuse him. Use him sparingly, and he'll be amazing.
Yeah, he did say in my interview he's going to be back at PCW, so that's a good opportunity with them doing sort of bigger. They do the bigger shows every now and then, so I think that's a chance for him to be seen by a lot of people.
One thing that I didn't mention that I did love in this show is when George Julio got on the microphone, and it was wonderful, everything he said. But one of the big highlights of what he said was, get out and see local wrestling every time. I thought that was such a beautiful sentiment. And with the amount of pro wrestling going on around Australia, there's really no excuse to not. This weekend, there's Australian pro wrestling going on in your neck of the woods. If you're in the ACT, Slam Pro Wrestling Leagues on Saturday, July 26th. If you're in the Northern Territory, Top End Wrestling has got Saturday Night Fights Territory Takedown this Saturday, July 26th. In South Australia, ACW, Adelaide Championship Wrestling, has Evolve or Dissolve on Saturday, July 26th. In New South Wales, IWA's International Wrestling Australia's Wild West is on Friday, July 25th and Saturday, July 26th. Australian Wrestling Superstars on Friday, July 25th. That's their Academy show. And Saturday, July 26th. There's also the Wrestle Strong Dojo with Slam and Jam and Turnbuckle Tournament. That's on both of the weekend days, Saturday, July 26th and Sunday, July 27th. Also in New South Wales is Lucha Fantastica's Circus Show Sydney. That's on Saturday, July 26th. If you were watching the chat earlier, you would have seen my dad make a comment because he's going to be at PWA at Henson Park, Marrickville this Saturday for the Good Times Beer, Footy and Food Festival on Saturday, July 26th. There you go. I've gotten my dad to go to a wrestling show. Isn't that cool? If you're in Victoria, PCW, Professional Championship Wrestling, has Slam on Friday, July 25th. BCW, Battle Championship Wrestling's Best in Battle 2 is on Friday, July 25th and Saturday, July 26th. And Peak Pro Wrestling's Harper Sky's Summer Beach Wrestling Party is on Saturday, July 26th. Meanwhile, up here in Queensland on Saturday, July 26th, there is Venom Pro Wrestling's Walloon Saloon Showdown, but there is also Pro Wrestling League's Homecoming on Saturday, July 26th. That's a show that I'm going to be at on commentary, and the Podfather Todd Eastman is going to be wrestling, or more accurately, suffering the wrath of Rip Riley, as well as a bunch of other exciting things on there. I'll give you a quick pro tip. If you are in Queensland and coming to that show, get there early because there is somebody who I saw at the 3 Count Academy, DC Dante, I believe is going to be having his first public match. And that kid has it. Don't be surprised if we're talking about DC Dante a lot coming up soon as one of those young guys in Australian wrestling. So there's a pro tip there. Jeff, did you have something to add there, mate?
I just have a couple of things to add. Firstly, Alex Fire had asked a question. They asked, so you think you should, meaning Jab, just go in for a feud storyline somewhere there, maybe leave that place for a while after it's done rather than hang around. That's what wrestling should be. That's what wrestling was for 50 years before Vince ran everything. And it works. It absolutely works. And it's not 100% what I'm saying, but I don't think it would be a bad move to have him, show up at MCW, feud with Dusk for 6 months to a year and then disappear. And then show up a year later and feud with someone else.
Especially with his Messiah character, it would fit that he's just omnipresent and just shows up whenever he sees fit in wherever he sees fit.
Yeah, I think it's great. But some nice news, and this is connected to what we were talking about. Obviously, Mayhem is very much behind backed by Relentless, the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling. They have introduced the Relentless Championship. It is awarded to the hardest worker each month who puts in the work and completes the most amount of in-ring training sessions. A title that is unrelated to any shows, purely an in-house school championship for the students who be relentless. I think that is absolutely fucking wonderful.
So cool.
What a wonderful thing. So to JXT, to Phil, and to Jake Navarro, what a lovely idea. And yeah, I think it's great.
Their training classes are going to be stacked now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to be packed to the brim every
Everybody's
week.
going to be there every day.
Yeah.
Especially that first month.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. People are going to want to be that inaugural champ for sure. And look, it's insane to believe that we've talked about all of that. We've talked about 2 shows that are free on YouTube, and then we've just listed off a dozen more shows that are going to be happening this weekend. And that's just what's happening in Australia. There's a whole lot more that's been happening around the world of wrestling that's happened, that's coming up, that's ongoing. And we're going to talk about all of it right after this.
I find myself in the unique position of probably knowing Jake Nova and Mitch Ryder better than anyone in Australian wrestling. When Jake Nova was the AWA champion for over 400 days, I was by his side. When Mitch Ryder was the Pro Wrestling League champion for near on a year, I was by his side. But what you all might not know is that Jake and I found Mitch. We knew he was the next big thing in Queensland wrestling. We knew how good this guy is. And for the last 5 years, he has proven that. And Jake, you were the guy in Queensland wrestling. You were the guy that if anyone come from interstate or if anyone come from overseas, you were the guy they wanted to face. That guy is now Mitch Ryder. Now, I love that you're back. I think it's amazing. It's so good. It's so good to see someone of your skill back in professional wrestling. I love it. But as much as you are our family, as much as you are one of our brothers, like we've been up and down the road together. It's been 5 years, man. And I love that you're walking back in. I love it. And I love the fact that the only person you want to challenge is Mitch Ryder. Why wouldn't you? Everyone else does. But please do me this favour. This Saturday night, Kedron Wavell, don't bring Jake Nova, who's back after 5 years and looking to really re-establish himself. Bring the old Showtime. Because if you don't bring the old Showtime, Mitch is going to run all over you. And I say that with as much love as I possibly can. Because you are one of the best athletes I have ever seen. Mitch Ryder is the best athlete. I can't wait to see you on Saturday, man. Really, honestly. But you need to be the best you've ever been.
Step up to me, step up to me. You wanna be a big dog player, it's not to me. Look at all the science, acting like a wise ass. Step your feet and you never look back.
Do you
want to be a pro wrestler? Then sign up now to the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling.
Located 50 minutes west of Melbourne with a full gym, strength and conditioning coaches, a nutritionist, and world-traveled professional wrestling coaches to help you achieve your goals in the professional wrestling business. Whether you want to be a wrestler, a manager, referee, or just involved in the industry, with no tryout required, the Relentless School of Pro Wrestling is here to help you achieve your goals.
All you have to do to start your journey is sign up now to be Relentless.
Welcome back to your longest running Australian pro wrestling podcast, Wrestle Radio Australia, and making chicken salad here on a Thursday night at twitch.tv/Wrestle Radio Australia. That's right, I'm just pushing the Excalibur as much as it'll go because we need to get through all of this international wrestling news. My goodness. First off, a bit of some rough news for, overarching in the world of wrestling. Former WCW star Marcus Alexander Buff Bagwell has undergone amputation of his right leg on Thursday, his friend announced. According to TMZ Sports, Bagwell's longtime friend Steve Stasiak went public with the news Friday in a Facebook post. Stasiak noted that the amputation was necessary due to injuries suffered during a 2020 car crash, writing the injuries from his 2020 accident never fully healed. He gave it everything he had to avoid this outcome, but that fight led him here. So this is devastating stuff. You never want to see someone go through something like this, and hope, like, the bright side is it means that Buff is soldiering on. He's still around and he's going to be able to keep on going, but seeing someone undergo an amputation is never a good thing. So I guess the only thing to say is our thoughts are with Buff Bagwell and the people around him in what is sure to be a really difficult time. Anything else we need to add to that?
Not really from my perspective.
Yeah, that was a very confronting photo.
Yes. Yeah, it's pretty rough. Let's move on to some lighter stuff then.
Obviously, if it's going to sustain his life and keep him around longer, then there's no decision,
That's right. And it's definitely, something that can be, it's a challenge, but it's a challenge that can be overcome. Shout out to a friend of the show, Giant Coyote, an Aussie wrestler who underwent a leg amputation and is, soldiering on and doing commentary and still being involved in stuff. So always good to have those inspirational figures who go through this stuff. But the reason that it's inspirational is because it's hard and because it's confronting. So all of our thoughts are with Buff at this time. Moving on to some lighter stuff over in the WWE. A-Town Down Under have broken up. This is due to Austin Theory becoming injured. He has been out for a little while now. So we've had Grayson Waller addressing the fact that off screen that team is done. Reports are coming out that Grayson Waller is going to continue to be a heel, and apparently Austin Theory going to be working face when he returns as part of a feud there, because this was teased for a little while. Jamie, what do you think about this happening off screen, this team breaking up?
Look, I'm glad that it's happened because I want Grayson to have a moment of his own, but they teased it for so long. I feel like they could have done this 6 months ago and had the same result. We would have been in the exact same place.
Mm-hmm. And we would have actually gotten something out of it.
We would have actually got the breakup out of it and really solidified Grayson as a massive dickhead for turning on his best mate.
It would have been so much nicer if Waller had taken Austin Theory out. And it's easy to do. Austin Theory runs in and he goes, what are you doing with these dickheads? The New Day put us through hell for so many years. Why are you siding with them now? And then, they have words. They have a match later that night. Austin refuses to tag in because for reasons, so he doesn't exacerbate his injury. And then Waller, they find a way to write him out with Waller crowning him or something with a chair or whatever. He's got to go off for surgery, and then at least that gives it some closure and really gives Waller heat and a reason to continue with a New Day.
Yeah, it's like a shame they didn't even film something. They've done like when Rhea got hurt, they film a thing that makes it look like someone turned on them and attacked them. They didn't even do that. They were just like, oh yeah, we're not together anymore. Like, well, that's
he must be pretty bad, and if he is, then our thoughts are with Austin Theory as well.
Even without him being there, you could do something like, have one of the GMs say to Waller, hey, I'm giving you a title shot. And he goes, you promised that I'm getting that title shot? And the GM goes, yeah. And then he goes, oh, okay. And then you find out that he's beaten the tar out of Theory so he can have a singles title shot. A shot at about, like something like that where you just go, hey, this guy's a douche. Like, make it really, really clear. I also agree with Alex Fireheart where Theory as a face is not something that makes any sense to me personally. Yeah, I'm with you there, Alex. I don't see it. Alex Fireheart also says, when Jericho and Edge split because Edge got injured, Jericho cut a promo calling him dead weight and replacing him with the Big Show. Yeah, there you go. He's dead weight. I'm not dealing with him anymore. I'm flying solo now. It's not difficult. Moving on. Kevin Owens has had successful neck surgery. A new report from Sean Ross Sapp of Fightful Select has confirmed that on July 18, Owens successfully underwent neck surgery and is finally on the road to recovery. Sources from within WWE have claimed that the injury and subsequent surgery Owens underwent usually takes at least 1 full year to recover from, meaning that it's very likely Owens will end up missing WrestleMania 42 in April 2026. However, each person's recovery process is different. The company will simply monitor what he's comfortable doing come turn of the new year. Glad to hear of a successful surgery.
Yeah, look, I mean, the sad thing is that people who have that surgery normally only stick around for, 1 to 3 years, I guess. So I'm hoping this isn't the beginning of the end of Kevin Owens' career, because it is a phenomenal career. I can't think of anything Kevin Steen or Kevin Owens has done where I'm like, yeah, that doesn't work for me. Everything he's done from his days back in Ring of Honor as part of Steen Generico, with the guy who now runs an orphanage in Mexico, El Generico, through to his time with Scum, with Steve Corino and others, through to his debut. His debut in NXT was fantastic, and he was brought up so quickly for his initial fights with John Cena. Look, I just think everything Owens has done is working, and I hope this isn't the end of Owens, I guess is what I'm saying. Jamie, what do you think?
Yeah, I'm the same. I'm very glad it was successful neck surgery, because he's a father. You want him to be able to have that time with his kids. You don't want him to be in debilitating pain because of wrestling for so long. But yeah, hopefully it's good. And he's got that wrestling mind where even if he comes back and he has any sort of limitations on how he wants to go about it, he's the kind of guy that'll be able to make it work anyway. He can slightly change his style and do a quote unquote safer style and still be Kevin Owens that we all know and love.
Yeah.
Because it's not like he was going out there doing 450s and diving off the top rope and stuff. He was already probably one of the safer workers that they had. So any slight changes he has to make.
He very much changed his style when he joined WWE, because he used to do a lot of top rope work.
Swantons and things. Yeah,
swantons and stuff. And he'd still occasionally pull one out. He'd still occasionally do it in WWE. Remembering that he is that very, very, very safe guy. But I think that, look, as long as he stays safe, that's fine. Let's move on. Lachlan is in the sorry.
Alex says in the chat too, he's the sort of guy that He could be a talking head. He could do some commentary. He's awesome when he does commentary. So put him on a commentary desk for 6 months while he heals up. Like, put him in NXT on commentary because there's a commentator there that I could easily replace.
Don't you dare say that about Corey Graves.
I love Corey Graves.
Corey Graves is amazing. On that, there was a really nice clip that was doing the rounds of Pat McAfee explaining exactly why he took a break, that he was burnt out, that he was tired, that he felt that his mental health was being damaged. And I think that acknowledgement has made McAfee go up in my estimation. I don't think he's ever going to come back to a full-time schedule. He might show up at Mania and do a match or two, but I think his time as a commentator in WWE is done. And
especially because he was still doing his show on ESPN or whatever it was on. So he was still doing that. He was doing Raw. He was doing all the pay-per-views. Like, that's a crazy schedule. No wonder he felt burned out.
Yeah, he was very tired, as well as doing some wrestling training in the background, because of course during that time he faced Gunther as well. I think I agree with you. I think Owens will always have a spot in the company. If NXT teased me this week, I thought Booker T wasn't there for the whole show. I had hopes. Let's move on. As I was saying, Lachlan is slightly indisposed at the moment. SummerSlam will appear in select Regal cinemas, other PLEs potentially in future. I didn't know Steven Regal had cinemas, but I'm personally glad to hear it. It's only a good thing. I mean, it gets more eyeballs on wrestling. It means more people can access it who may not have Netflix, and I think that's pretty good. Speaking of SummerSlam,
that's like the closest thing you're going to get to going to a live show as well. Like AEW have done it for their pay-per-views recently as well. And I think, if you can't afford to go to the pay-per-view or it's somewhere else and it's not in your town, but you want to still have a fun night out with some friends, cinema's probably a good way to do it.
Well, they used to do cinema showings in Australia. Greater Union Cinemas used to show them, and they were a fun time. I saw a WrestleMania once in Perth at, I think it was 10 in the morning, and that was a bit of fun. A bit early, but bit of fun. SummerSlam looks like a very interesting card. I'll just quickly go through it. Let me know if you want to comment on any of these, Jamie. The Undisputed WWE Championship Street Fight. John Cena will be taking on Cody Rhodes. I think that'll be interesting. People,
I'm interested to see how much shenanigans are in.
Oh, there'll be so much shenanigans, mate. It'll just be shenanigans with a match loosely based around it. WWE Women's Championship, Tiffany Stratton against Jade Cargill. Please let Tiffany keep that belt. I don't think Jade Cargill is ready to hold the title in that company. In fact, she's.
That's a very green match overall. Like they're both very early in their careers. It's going to be interesting to see how that match goes down. If one of them gets lost at some point, it could get very lost.
Oh yeah, I think that it's Tiffany's match to lose, and I don't think she will. I think they're gonna find a way to keep it on her. Your World Heavyweight Championship, old mate Gunther going up against Cranky Man Punk. I'm all there for this. I think if anyone can get an amazing match out of Punk in 2025, it's Gunther.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I think it's going to be fantastic. I don't think Punk's going to win.
No. Absolutely.
I don't think Punk's going to win. I think they know that the champion for that belt is Gunther. Women's World Championship, Naomi against Rhea Ripley against Io Sky. Wow. We got there. Naomi's going to win that.
Yes. Oh, yeah. If she doesn't, that's terrible. You only just won it.
You don't take the belt off her that quickly. Your Women's Intercontinental Championship, no DQ, no count out. Becky Lynch against Lyra Valkyria. If Lyra loses, she cannot challenge Becky again. I think Lyra's got to win it at this point.
With that stipulation, surely.
And I mean, Becky's doing the work of her career. She's so funny. coming out in yellow and red all the time now. Just going, you want Becky Hogan, you got Becky Hogan. Big fan.
My
of
favorite
that
thing
stuff
was
at the
her
moment.
wearing yellow and red, and there's a person in the background in the crowd with the Becky Hogan sign. I was like, that's perfect.
Yeah, it's just so good. She knows exactly what she's doing. Alex Whiteheart said, honestly, it'd be funny if Rhea finally almost has EO beat, and then Naomi just gives her the old throw them out and take advantage to get the win. I think that's absolutely going to happen. I think
That's 100% how it goes down.
But there's no way that's going to be a bad match. It's going to be fucking excellent. The WWE Women's Tag Team Championship, they've bloody done it. They've made people cheer for Charlotte Flair. They've done it.
Unreal.
Isn't it fascinating? No DQ, no count out. Sorry, wrong match. Judgment Day, Raquel Rodriguez and Roxanne Perez are going up against Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss. I think it'll be fun. I think there's no way you take it off Raquel and Roxanne until long after Liv has come back for a huge face run.
Yeah, that makes sense to me. And like Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss are a thrown together team. Like no matter how you slice it, they are just there because they're established people who didn't have something else to do, and so they put them in a tag team. The problem for me is like that feels like a WWE move to put it on the thrown together tag team because they didn't have anything else to do.
I think this is what's going to happen. They're going to win because of Dom interference. This will be on the opposite night to Dom's match, and they're going to win because of Dom experience, and Roxanne's going to go up and give him a big smooch, and then he's back in trouble again. Because
I don't mind that.
Judgment Day is all about getting Dom over at this point, really. So
it's a Dom vehicle. Really.
I think it's gonna happen, and and I think it's going to be hilarious. I think it's just going to get funnier and funnier because he's already getting, yay, it's Dom. Oh, we've got to boo him.
I like Alex Fireheart's comment here.
I love it.
Apparently, they wanted Charlotte and Alexa to split and fight, and Charlotte went, "No, people like me now. Don't take this away from me yet." That's incredibly funny. I'll jump back into hosting.
I like them doing media this week too, and Charlotte put up the post of like they made me be here with her.
Yeah. Doing the couple from Parks and Rec, someone will die of fun. That I love that dynamic. I'll jump back in hosting if that's all right with you, Jeff. I appreciate you taking the ball and running with it. The WWE United States Championship is going to be defended in a steel cage with Solo Sikoa versus Jacob Fatu. I like the US title in a steel cage. It feels like the right belt to put a goofy stipulation on to have something like that on SummerSlam.
Yeah, I agree. I think Solo's keeping it.
I think that's probably right. Like, there's lots of heels with titles at the moment, but the money's in the chase. I like heels with titles, right? Like, the argument is that SummerSlam is maybe the 6-month WrestleMania. It's where the big face wins happen, but I like the heels holding.
I think Jacob's going to move up too. I don't think he's going to be at that level for long. I think they see him as bigger and better. So they're probably this is probably just a stopgap feud to finish the story and then move him up.
I think you're probably right. I did see someone talking about, apparently internally, the 3 names they're talking about as the future are Rhea, Jacob Fatu, and Bron Breakker as like their headliners in the coming years. So we'll see. Alex Fireheart saying could be Jacob is the next big feud for Gunther. So, that's definitely a possibility. Moving on down the card, Intercontinental Championship on the line with Dominic Mysterio defending against AJ Styles. I think that this is just a perfect person to get a good match out of Dom as he retains the title. I don't see AJ winning this one.
No. I think it'll be great. I mean, AJ's now announcing that he's in his last year of active competition. He announced that at the TNA show. Evidently, I didn't see it. But I think he's going to keep it, and I think Dom's going to keep it, and this will be fun. It'll just be a fun match.
Yeah, absolutely. Jamie?
Yeah, AJ Styles can't go wrong. Dominic Mysterio is pretty solid these days, so yeah, AJ will give him a good, solid match and be enjoyable.
That's right. And then we get to showcase some people by putting them in tag matches. That means Roman Reigns and Jey Uso are going to take on the team of Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed as part of, Roman's vendetta against Paul Heyman since the turn to join Seth Rollins. So that'll be a bit of fun. But then on top of that, we've got another tag match that is Drew McIntyre and Logan Paul taking on the team of Randy Orton and Jelly Roll. So which of those tag matches are you more excited about, Jeff?
Oh, I mean, Jelly Roll's wrestling? No, I'm more excited about Roman Reigns and Jey Uso against Bron Breakker and Bronson Reed. I mean, obviously, anytime I get to see Joan Rock wrestle is always a good day. Bron Breakker's incredible, and Jey Uso is probably still the most over person in that company. And there's a distance between him and the next person. He's taking what we've seen before, and it's because of one word, 4 letters, yeet. It just works.
Yep, it works. Jamie?
Yeah. Anytime you get to see Bronson Reed wrestle is great. I don't really know who Jelly Roll is, but he seems to have got them a lot of
description.
Yeah, some sort of rapper. But he seems to have got them a lot of PR, so I can see why they've done this because they did the Late Show, which is huge.
Yeah.
So good on Randy Orton and Jelly Roll for doing that and looked like it was fun.
Yeah, definitely. Over in AEW, we've had a few big movements happen. First of all, FTR have beaten Jet Speed, Kevin Knight and Mike Bailey, in the first round of, now you're not going to believe this, a tournament. That's right. There's a World Tag Team Championship Eliminator #1 Contendership tournament where the winners will get a shot at the Hurt Syndicate's title at Forbidden Door. Now, Jeff and Jamie, I know what we've been saying for a long time is AEW needs more tournaments.
Yeah, I look, it's been at least 6 months since the last one. No, it hasn't. The Owen finished about 2 months ago. It's been at least 2 months.
And that was 2 tournaments, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, let's do another one. I think they should change their name to TAEW, Tournament All Elite Wrestling, because it seems to be all they do. Not that there's anything wrong with it if you're telling stories.
Just for the record, because obviously I was putting the run sheet together tonight because Todd's not here. So the page that I got that information from was the Wikipedia article List of All Elite Wrestling Tournaments, which is a real Wikipedia page that lists all of the tournaments that AEW has. Over there, how long have they been going? Like 6 years? And they need a full page just for their tournament? 5 years? Yeah. And they need a full page just for their tournaments.
Yeah, and the problem is, I think there's going to be at least one more this year that's not the Continental Classic.
Yep,
because I'm pretty sure they're bringing in women's tag titles at some point, and that's not going to be just a one-off match. That's going to be a tournament.
And just for reference, they do have 4 annual tournaments. They have the Dynamite Diamond Ring tournament that happens regularly. They have 2 Owen Hart Cups, and they have the Continental Classic every year. So that's 4 tournaments that happen every year, plus all of their sporadic tournaments. So, because you need to have a tournament to find out the #1 contender every time.
I wouldn't be shocked if we get a women's Continental Classic this year too.
Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me either. Speaking of, how a person becomes #1 contender, there is going to be a match for the AEW World Championship next week, as Hangman Page has offered a rematch to Leader of the Death Riders, Mox, with everyone banned from ringside. So, at least that's something on the stipulation, but there's going to be a lot of blood for a Wednesday, right?
Of course. It's a Mox match. I'm
Jeff,
sure
any
there's
thoughts?
not blood.
I said it all the other week when I said it's fine to do a big match on a pay-per-view, but on a weekly show, just do a normal fucking match. I'm so tired of John Moxley doing matches where it's like an all-elite death match with, steel thumbtacks and shark cages. Just wrestle, man. Like, you know, that famous quote of Vern Gagne, do what it says on the fucking poster. Just wrestle.
We'll add in, you know...
If we can just get through Collision without any stipulations outside of people being banned from ringside being added to that match, then I'll start to get excited.
Yeah, that's right. While we're talking about the aftermath of that all-in main event, Bryan Danielson claims to be, quote, not back after his appearance at All In. On the Nikki and Bree show, he said, quote, well, some of the moves I had cleared, talking about by AEW doctors, some of them I did not, but I was feeling it. Danielson also quickly added, I don't use the R word. I believe he was talking about retired and not a slur, but that is what he said there. So no huge shocks. I think we can move on from, you know, Danielson's going to continue being around, and I think he just loves being in front of the crowd. And every so often he's going to do a little bit, but we're probably not seeing any matches in his near future. Are we all kind of on the same page there?
Yeah, I don't think we're getting any more 60-minute matches.
Yeah, no. And, you know, we're not...
Good. I think it's a good thing.
Yeah, I agree. Especially, you know, we're not going to see any more of, you know, him versus Will Ospreay, who is also having some trouble with his neck at the moment. Will Ospreay taking time off due to a neck injury, but claims he will be back by Forbidden Door, which he is like the main focus of the poster for, so I would hope that he's back for it. He has 2 herniated discs that have gone into his spinal cord, so that is not good. That would hurt like a bitch, and Forbidden Door's not that far away, so it's, you know, not a whole lot of recovery time. Hopefully he is feeling better by then, because that's a pretty gnarly injury.
Yeah, it's like 4 weeks.
Yeah, that's crazy talk. Because I like... rest up, be in a wheel. You like, don't end your life in a wheelchair, man.
Yeah, and Alex Fireheart says, going to assume probably a tag match then. Yeah, he did mention looking for an eye for an eye, which makes it seem like he is going to want to take on the Death Riders at Forbidden Door, which would mean tag or trios, so that they can protect that a little bit. He's probably then going to have a nice big rest, but you can't not have Billy Birdman when you're doing the big O2 Arena show, right? So he's got to be there. Moving off AEW and onto the other American wrestling company, TNA had Slammiversary this past weekend, but it was kind of NXT Slammiversary. Let's run through what the card looked like. It opened with the team of Josh Bishop, Zilla Fatu, and Real One, the former Enzo Amore, defeating Jake Something, Mance Warner, and Steve Macklin. Then Hometown Man, one of my new favorites, defeating Eric Young. And the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles on the line, with the Elegance brand managing to defend those titles against the Inspiration, which it's always disappointing to see the Inspiration not able to grab those titles. But, you know, it's long-term storytelling. Something that I think carries across most of this Slammiversary card is that this seems to be the wind-up, and they're going to kind of deliver a lot of this stuff at Bound for Glory, right? I think that a lot of these places where we're seeing NXT people take titles, we're seeing, you know, storylines set up, it seems like maybe Bound for Glory is the one that they're pushing as the big show where the climaxes to these stories happen. Any thoughts on that, boys?
Yeah, that's been TNA's modus operandi for the past 20 odd years. Like, that's what they do. Slammiversary sets up Bound for Glory. So, you know, I'm fine with it. I'm fine.
Which is why
my issue is that it's all well and good to do that if Bound for Glory was going to have a big crowd. But at this point, they're looking at half the crowd that they had on the weekend.
Yeah.
It's like, you had a nearly 8,000 person crowd. Pay off some of these things. Just bring them forward a month. Like,
I'm not no disagreement.
The men's world title, I think that was your moment, and you've missed it.
Alex Fireheart is calling it NXTNA in the chat, right? And like, that's the thing where I'm like, I get what you're saying, but the payoff is bound for glory. Alex Fireheart then also said BFG is their Starcade, so it'd make sense. Alex, I love you so much. Referring to a company's big show as their Starcade is just fantastic. I need you to keep doing that forever. That's wonderful stuff, mate. Onto the main show. In a TNA World Title 3-way match, Trick Williams managed to defeat Joe Hendry and Mike Santana to retain that TNA World Title. The TNA World Tag Team titles were on the line in a 4-way ladder match, with the Hardys managing to defeat the Nemeths, First Class, and the Rascals to become the new TNA World Tag Team Champions. The X Division title was won by Leon Slater.
The challenge after that tag title match?
We'll get to it. It's written below it on my run, so we'll get to that in a second, right? The TNA X Division title was won by Leon Slater, who managed to defeat Moose. The TNA Knockouts World title and WWE NXT Women's title in a winner-takes-all match was won by JC Jane, who defeated Masha Slamovich to take both of those titles. Matt Cardona and The System, Brian Myers, Eddie Edwards, and JDC, managed to defeat Dark State, Cutler James, Dion Lennox, Osiris Griffin, and Sakon Sugars, which I don't know why I list the names of Dark State at this point. They're just Dark State. They're not doing anything else. And Mustafa Ali managed to defeat Cedric Alexander in a match that was a long time coming for that rematch. I don't know if you guys have anything to say about any of the individual matches other than what we're going to talk about with the aftermath of the X Division title and the tag title.
You did skip a match.
Oh, I did. Indy Hartwell defeating Tessa Blanchard.
Yeah, and whether that was intentional because of one of the participants or not.
No. I'll talk about this briefly. Indy Hartwell and Tessa Blanchard was not a great match. I thought it was a fine match, right? It's been talked about like it was... Who was it that was, Todd's old mate who likes to tell us when we're wrong about stuff, right? Said not Meltzer, Meltzer's buddy, Alvarez. Alvarez was talking about it like I think he said it was like the worst match on pay-per-view in like years. I simply don't think that that's true. I think it was not a great match, but I think it was...
Half minutes seems like a long time for that match.
It was... That's the problem. It was too long for how fine it was. But yeah, like I don't think that it's the worst match in a long time. It was a 2-star match, right? I don't think it was a 1/2-star match. That's ridiculous.
It feels like it would have been a good 8 to 10 minutes.
Yes.
Not 15. That seems
half the time. Had it had half the time, it would have been good.
When the women's title match went for 12 minutes.
Yeah. I also think those two didn't have chemistry. Sometimes that happens. Great wrestlers cannot have chemistry, right?
Which is crazy because they've worked together a lot.
They have, but so did Undertaker and Steve Austin, and they didn't have good matches.
True.
Right? It's like, you can be great. Look at Jericho and Owens, who worked together a lot and then never put together a match that was more than fine. Right? Sometimes two people just don't gel. I think that's what this was. And the match was mid. But it's not the worst match on pay-per-view in the last 3 years. That's a bloody stupid thing to say. So, fight me, Alvarez, I guess. Let's talk about...
It was the Usos, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
it was Jay and Jimmy. It was that.
Yeah.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
And
it's fine to say that it wasn't good, but it wasn't it wasn't, like the worst match on a Triple Mania card or something. Those are bad matches. Right. Anyway, in the aftermath of a couple of matches, let's talk about what happened after the X Division title match with AJ Styles making his much anticipated appearance to congratulate Leon Slater mainly, but coming out with his TNA music. It seemed like some people thought he was going to wrestle on TNA, and he kind of very much avoided saying that would ever happen. Seems like he's not going to wrestle there. I don't know why people got all excited about that possibility.
I think he's only got a certain number of dates left in his body because of his style. So they're all going to be bigger.
Because of his AJ style, perhaps.
Go away. Go away. I've been fucking hilarious all night tonight, and you come out with that. Jesus Christ, Lachlan. Right.
His AJ style.
Your joke.
They may
your
do
joke
like a.
wasn't as good as Indy against Tessa. That's how bad it was.
Like they may do an AJ versus Leon Slater at some point, but it's going to be very late. It's not going to be a big match.
And it'll be on WWE TV. It won't be on TNA.
Yeah, it might be like a Mania match to have that crossover again, like they had with Joe Hendry.
Yeah. The bigger match aftermath was after the Hardys became the new TNA World Tag Team Champions. Bully Ray appeared, making his return to TNA, to have Team 3D challenge the Hardys for those titles at Bound for Glory. Who wants to take this?
No.
I don't want it. Can I get a refund?
Yeah.
I want to see Hardys versus Team 3D in 2002. I don't want to see it in 2025. They are too old for that to be an exciting matchup. It is literally just the words on the paper that are exciting. The actual matchup is going to be bloody atrocious. They are too old. Roddy Online says, does anyone still like Bully / Bubba? No.
And
like,
Devon
I know that
barely walk.
Devon is in a state. Bubba is, look, I think Bubba is always working. The fact that everyone dislikes Bubba / Bully Ray is because he wants everyone to dislike him because he thinks that draws money, right? It doesn't change the fact that nobody likes him. That's my opinion on it. I think if your whole thing is, I'm going to live my life so that everyone dislikes me, good for you, buddy. Nobody likes you. Like, that's your payoff. Paul in the chat says the Hardys are still around. Fair effort. That's what this is. It's incredible that both of these teams are still going after what they've put their body through, and I think they deserve to rest.
I think we deserve to not see them again. Look, it'll be a thing. I don't think it's going to draw eyes to the product. I don't think anyone's going to get Bound for Glory to see the Hardys against Team 3D.
I think people will.
Also, tag team wrestling has moved on. Tag team wrestling moves on at a rapid pace because you've got innovative teams like the Motor City Machine Guns. You've got innovative teams like Aussie Open, FTR. You've got these teams that do incredible stuff. Even Fraxium, it's like.
But like, Jeff, you named the Motor City Machine Guns there, and they were being innovative and blowing away what the Hardys and Team 3D were doing in like 2009. They were like, we've surpassed this. That's 16 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
My hope is that they somehow insert a third team into that match so that
to make it work,
like the Rascals can come in and win the belts and be like, look, we beat the two legendary teams. We are now the guys. Otherwise, if it's Team 3D versus the Hardys, 1-on-1, straight up, probably a ladder match. Jesus, no, that's going to be bad.
Matty Huss is right. He says, let's not discount the Hardys' current run in TNA, though. They're over big time and have probably exceeded expectations in ring-wise. Now, exceeding expectations in ring is like probably not difficult because expectations were at absolute zero, but they have been okay. Fair play to them. And of course, they're over. They're the Hardys. I'm glad that they're making money. I don't need to see them wrestle, and I don't need to see them wrestle other old dudes.
I feel that it was the same as when Gunther was wrestling Oldberg. I just didn't want to see anyone get hurt. And that's exactly how I feel about this as well. Look, we're not far removed from Matt Hardy wrestling with a fucking concussion, continuing to wrestle. You know, don't forget, and like, this is extreme and it's probably not going to happen. And I'm not talking ill of him in a personal way, but don't forget, this is like, we're not that far removed from Jeff Hardy going to the ring in no fit state.
Victory Road.
At Victory Road. We need to not see this. There are certain things we need to not see. And there'll be something in my chicken shit that reflects this as well. We need to not see these things anymore. We need these guys to go away. We need Hogan to go away. You know.
Yeah. Yep, I'm with you. Alex Fireheart said Matt Hardy as a mouthpiece in AEW was honestly a good spot for him, minus the bloated stable of teams he ended up with, but still. We do have to move on because, gosh, we've got a lot of shows still to cover, and we've been going for 2 hours and 20 minutes, so we need to talk about the G1 Climax. Gabe Kidd has been pulled from the tournament after an injury to his right knee during the first round of the tournament. We don't know specifically what's happened to Gabe Kidd's knee, but he's out of the tournament. It's not looking good.
Fully out?
That's what it sounds like.
Missed matches.
Well,
he's missed 2 matches.
He's missed 2 matches so far, and they've both been given as like buys. They've been given as wins to his opponent. It sounds like it's going to be the case for the rest of the tournament. Is that whatever's happened, it's rough. And look, especially the G1, which is, you know, grueling at the best of times. If you've hurt your knee and you need to be out for at least a couple of rounds, the idea of coming back in doesn't seem like a really smart idea, especially because if he was going to win, he probably can't do that now after getting those couple of like default losses. And if he wasn't going to win, then what's the point of bringing him back into the tournament?
Yeah, let him have the next 8 weeks off to properly heal.
Exactly. I'm a bit sad because I did think it was likely that he was going to do something big in this tournament. I had him picked as a finalist for B block, but you know, it seems like they will want to build him up for the Tokyo Dome shows because of the spotlight he had there last year, that, you know, they could really make something out of Gabe Kidd there. So it's unfortunate for him to seem like he might be missing the rest of this tournament. Alex Fireheart says he might have hyperextended his knee. There hasn't been an official word on exactly what happened, but that is likely.
I wonder if he's like factoring into Forbidden Door in that sort of Osprey multi-man tag type match. So maybe they just sit out the rest of the G1 and get ready for that.
Yeah, very possible. Results so far after a couple of rounds, I'll read off quickly. A block at the top with 4 points are Evil, Bolton Oleg, Ryohei Iwa, Yota Tsuji, and Taichi. Meanwhile, all on 2 points are Yuya Uemura, Callum Newman, Hiroshi Tanahashi, David Finlay, and Sanada, which means that everyone is within 1 win of each other. They're a very tight tournament. B block is obviously going to be a little bit different because considering Gabe Kidd is sitting on 0, that's going to give some advantages to competitors who have already faced him. But at the moment, they're on 2 points is Shingo Takagi, Great Okan, El Phantasmo, and Zack Sabre Jr. Up on 4 points is Ren Narita, Konosuke Takeshita, Shota Umino, and Drilla Maloney. And leading B block on 6 points, all in caps, so I have to yell it, Yoshihashi! Which is
some stunning leaders of the blocks.
Whoa, it's wild. It's wild.
There's a lot of tournament to go. It doesn't, you know.
There's a lot left. Tournaments do not end on 6 points. We'll say that much. But yeah, there's still a lot to happen in the G1, so we'll see how that goes. But you know, and when things happen like that, you've got the awesomeness of the G1. You've got the, you know, the sadness of Gabe Kidd missing it. You know, it is a mix of chicken salad and chicken shit. You got to take the good with the bad, and that's what our show's named for. We're going to talk about what we loved, what we hated. Alex Fireheart saying Yoshihashi finally getting to look good when his partner is out injured. Yeah, very interesting. Let's talk about our chicken shit first for the week. Get it out of the way. Jeff, do you want to take it away, mate?
Yeah, I do. NXT this week, The Undertaker came out and made Trick Williams look horrible in a promo segment that went on for what felt like 3 hours. Trick Williams is clearly the future of that company. He's clearly someone who is really, really special. And I know that they're toying with him being a heel right now, but we don't need The Undertaker coming out and beating him up and defeating him and choke slamming him or anything like that. We need Trick Williams being smarter than that. You want to put The Undertaker on the show? Sure. Let's put him on the show. Let's get him to do a promo spot. Let Trick come out and say, your kids, the LFG guys, they all suck, blah, blah, blah. Undertaker sets up a match the following week. Trick Williams against Who's He What's It. Trick wins. Undertaker, frustrated, goes away, comes back a week later. It's a good way to bleed in the guys from LFG to go up against an established name like Trick. This was fucked. This was so offensive. And then Bully Ray comes out 5 minutes later and stinks up a segment with the No Quarter Catch crew, who are one of the more interesting aspects of NXT. We don't need these guys. As Matty Haas has said, it's diminishing returns now. The aura he spent decades building is slipping away before our eyes. And I absolutely agree. From the Kid Rock music to the too cool for school fucking blue sunglasses. Just stop. Enjoy your retirement, mate. You've been fantastic, but I don't want to see you on NXT. That's for the future.
Yep, absolutely. Macho Man Andy Savage in the chat saying Colton Gunn getting injured in their first match back sucked. So a definite chicken shit there. Jamie, have you got some chicken shit for us?
Well, mine follows on from Jeff's with the NXT thing, with NXT winning all of those belts. I can't imagine the head of TNA was very happy to see Undertaker shitting on the now TNA World Champion as well. So, yeah, I just don't like that this partnership that NXT and TNA have built, it is so one-sided, it is not even funny. Like, has anybody from TNA won anything in NXT? No, they go over there, they lose, and then they lose the top guys that once their contracts end, they go over there anyway. How is this benefiting TNA at all, apart from the AJ Styles pop?
I'll just quickly reference another wrestling podcast that I enjoy, which is Wrestle Me. A couple of funny lads from the UK who talk a lot of shit. And something that they say all the time is every company looks at the history of WWE and goes, oh, WWE have screwed up every other company they've ever worked with. They've picked it dry of all of the talent that they can get and then left it to die. But it won't happen to us. We're going to be different. And I see it happening with NXT right now. I can see it happening with AAA at the moment. Because it happened with WCW, it happened with ECW, it happened with every company that Vince worked with back in the territory days. Every company who has ever worked with WWE has been picked dry and left to die. So, take that as you will. We'll see what happens going forward. Alex Fireheart.
Like at Slammiversary, they had that moment of Santana, New York guy, world title match, main event, 8,000 people there. Nope. Trick Williams is retaining. Like, you missed the moment. It was the Cody first Mania moment. You missed it. And now it's going to be Bound for Glory, maybe 4,000 people in the middle of nowhere. Oh, the New York guy won in Ohio. Cool.
Neat. Alex Fireheart with shit saying, sorry, go on, Jeff. Keep complaining.
I was going to say, look, none of this is anything against Trick Williams. He's definitely the future. He absolutely is. I mean, you can't look at that guy and go anything but a star. He's got star written all over him. He has great matches, but we don't need to see him.
Yeah, he's an NXT guy, not a TNA guy.
Yeah.
Alex Fireheart's chicken shit. Keno ending Ozawa's GHC heavyweight title run in Noah finally, only to lose it to Kenta the next night. Great match, but I wish Keno had kept the title. Almost wonder if Keno beating Ozawa wasn't audible because the ref might have feared Ozawa had a concussion, given it was a KO decision. Alex Fireheart then with something that I think is so funny, saying a mild additional chicken shit. Too many matches in the G1 so far with the limb work being the leg. Please pick another limb, guys. What a great criticism, Alex. Go off. Go off. Mine was going to be the Undertaker bullshit, so I'm going to take a slightly different tack and just say that I feel like a lot of the guys in NXT are massively overdue for a call-up, right? We're talking about Trick Williams clearly being the future. We're talking about how Obafemi is a made man, right? You've got all of these guys. Do you know when the last time an African-American man had a singles match on a PLE was in WWE?
It was Ricochet.
It was Ricochet at SummerSlam 2023. Ricochet, the guy who's been in AEW for how long now? Yeah, he was the last African-American dude to have a match on a PLE in WWE. That's crazy. We're about to have the second SummerSlam since then. Still no singles matches for black dudes. What? When clearly we've got this wealth of talent in NXT who are saying, that guy's the future, that guy's the future, that guy's ready, he's ready. What are we doing with them? No,
TKO,
instead Jelly Rolls wrestling. Cool.
That's that TKO influence. Guys, they sell tickets.
Let's be honest. Carmelo Hayes could be in a singles match in SummerSlam like that if they gave him.
Why isn't he? Why?
And there's no reason he's not.
Because he was the guy that we were saying the same thing we're saying about Trick Williams and Obafemi a year ago.
Yeah.
Anyway. Black Queens are wrestling. Very true, Roddy. You're absolutely not wrong. But Roddy Online also with a comment that's just so funny out of context. Limb-wise, it's 50-50 if it's legs, brother. Which...
Put that on a t-shirt, Roddy. Put that on a t-shirt. Limb-wise, it's 50-50 if it's legs, brother.
Limb-wise, half the time it's legs when you really come down to it. Dem legs, says Beetle Bailey. Oh, boy. We're getting to the funny part of the night. Chicken salad. What have we got, Jeff? What did you like? I know what you liked. Tell me about it.
Look, this is a bit of a personal one as well. I just want to echo what I said last week because now he's in the room. The commentary you wrote, Jamie, for my Oz Wrestling card, which is available now on part of the August pack with some incredible talent, by the way, just moved me to tears. I'd had a really tough day. Something had happened at my gym, and I came home and I saw that, and it was absolutely beautiful. When we were in Adelaide, one person stood out as going above and beyond, and that person was Dr. Richard Gouda. Gouda would do anything we asked him. He wasn't always in the show, but he came along and he did stupid shit and had some fun anyway. And he was an absolute gent. Pulling the curtain back. He's an absolute gent. And I am so happy to see him get his flowers as winner of the Royal Park Rumble 3. He's funny, he's sweet, he's a nice human being, and he completely deserves it. And it made me happy. Yeah, look, it wasn't the execution wasn't the best for online viewers. Watching the show free on YouTube, you're still too sober, Matt. But I thought that this was great, and Dick Cheese, as I called him, I said, your name's Dick Cheese. And he goes, yeah, you won't believe how many people just don't get that. I'm like, it's funny though, man. Yeah, Jamie's looking at me quizzically, but yeah, seriously, he said so many people. He
said the same to me, that so many people had no idea.
Jesus.
Calling him.
We are too smart for our own good.
It's really funny. But yeah, I'm so happy that he's won that title in what was a fun match. And
he showed in that match too exactly like what he's about. He got sent sky high and landed on his mush, right? It's like he'll just do it,
He's also the guy who, like, RCW needs someone to look like a dickhead. They'll wheel him out and he'll do it, and he'll do it quite happily. And he's funny, and I just can't speak enough about someone like Dr. Richard Gouda because I think he does a great job.
Absolutely. Matty Huss's chicken salad is a left field one, but there's been a pro wrestling question on Tipping Point at least once a week for the past few weeks now. Mainstream, baby. That's another show where I can't believe how not smart people are. Sometimes I watch Tipping Point, it's like, how do you not know that? But there you go, wrestling questions on it. That's neat. Macho Man Andy Savage says Mr. Iguana and La Hiedra versus Santino and Lola Vice from Triple R over the weekend might be the match of the year. That sounds like a lot of fun to me, Andy. I'll have to check that one out.
We all know why you would want to watch that match, though.
Well, it's because I'm a gatekeeper. Jamie, what was your chicken salad?
What's Tipping Point?
No, don't watch it.
What's Tipping Point?
We're so off topic now. Jeff, do you know those coin pusher machines they have at arcades where like it's got the table that moves back and forth? It's a quiz show with one of those, but big.
Oh, fuck off.
It's done.
Fuck off.
Watch that or watch the chase. I'm choosing the chase every day.
Every time.
I would choose the chase. I'm at the gym at that time anyway, so, you know.
Jamie, what's your chicken salad, mate?
I loved AJ returning to TNA and getting to use Get Ready to Fly. But the biggest thing for me was Adam Sandler putting over MJF huge during this sort of press tour for Happy Gilmore 2 this week. That was so cool to see. He's like, yeah, he's awesome. MJF is great. He's like my son, so we'll work with him anytime he wants. I was like, that's massive for MJF.
Yeah, huge. I do just want to point out, Roddy Online once again just putting the funniest out of context comments in a wrestling chat tonight, saying, nah, if you don't fuck with coin pushers, it's because you haven't played them. Very true. Coin pushers rule. Mickey's over here next to me, loves a good coin pusher. We love a coin pusher. Alex Fireheart says chicken salad. Tai Chi in the G1 so far has been a treat. Says something that he main evented 2 nights in a row to open the tournament due to Gabe getting injured and delivered both nights. Also feels like it says something that the crowd was solidly behind him against Tanahashi when they've otherwise been defaulting to cheering Tanahashi. Yeah, absolutely. Here we go. Australia's #1 game show. Today's wrestling question was, which pro wrestler is nicknamed the Doctor of Thugonomics? It was not answered correctly. There you go. That's what watching Game Changer is like.
You can't see him, so no one is the correct answer.
Yeah, that's true. My chicken salad is going to be, I'm going to link in a couple of little things here because I think that both of the shows that we watched this week were bloody phenomenal. And I know I say it all the time. The fact that they're free on YouTube is just unreal. The fact that you can go and watch Mayhem Pro and see the people that are up and coming in the Australian scene delivering at such a high level, seeing, you know, that young talent. And then you can also see, you know, a show like RCW 300 celebrating, you know, just the consistency of Australia putting out great wrestling content with 300 shows. It's absolutely unbelievable. I'm going to connect that to, I got the chance to call something that was really special, which was 3 Count Pro Wrestling. The Wrestling Academy up here in Brisbane had their grading night. Basically, a few people getting to the point where they're graduating to being ready to be on shows. And so they got to have their first matches in front of friends and family. And I got to ring announce that. And that's just, you know, it's so special to be there and see these people becoming wrestlers and being bloody good at it. And the fact that, you know, you've got Mayhem Pro showcasing them and you can see the heights that they reach with shows like RCW 300. I just love pro wrestling when it's bloody great. And just like, but between us all sitting here, seeing Mitch Ryder take on DC Dante in DC Dante's first match and put on a match that any wrestling company in Australia, you could have put that match on the card and people would have gone, that was phenomenal. That was one of the matches of the night. For a kid having his first match, you know, like, so it's so good to see the incredible amount of talent that is, you know, around the country, not just here in Queensland, which is the stuff that I get to love, but I do love the stuff here in Queensland, but just, you know, everywhere in the country is putting on great professional wrestling. And really, there's so much of it that the only way to keep up is to follow Making Chicken Salad and follow Wrestle Radio Australia. It's free to do. You can do it on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podcast Addict, wherever you get your podcasts. It's free to subscribe. If you're on Apple Podcasts, if you could give us a rating and a review while you're there, 5 stars really helps us get into more ears, get out to more listeners, get shared. You can follow us on the socials at WrestleRadio AU on Twitter and Instagram. We're twitch.tv/WrestleRadio Australia. I'm at Lachlan Albert. Jeff is at Wrestle_Brainia for the WrestleBrainia stuff. Jamie is at Jamie Apps Media. You can also follow Pario Magazine. I'll talk to you boys about those things in a second, but I'm going to ramble for a bit because, you can also grab some merch for Wrestle Radio Australia. You can go over to Redbubble. You can search for Wrestle Radio Australia, grab some WRA merch, and the proceeds don't go to us. They go to charities like Beyond Blue and Gotcha for Life, which are awesome charities that support mental health here in Australia. And if you're looking for merch, in fact, if you're looking for awesome merch like this Big Boy Renegade shirt that I'm wearing right now, how good is that? It's got a menu of signature moves on the back. It's phenomenal. You can get merch like that at kickout.com.au. Big Boy Renegade, one of the people behind Kickout, is putting together these awesome merch designs, and you can just head on to kickout.com.au, buy the merch. It gets sent straight to you. How easy is it? And if you're a wrestler who wants your merch up there, contact Kickout through their Insta page. Get amongst it. There's merch from Queensland wrestlers and wrestlers across the country. Speaking of wrestlers across the country, one person who covers those wrestlers is Mr. Jamie Apps. Tell me what Pario Magazine has going on at the moment, Jamie.
What is coming up this week? This week, our interview with Lynn McGranger is about to drop on Monday. So that was very cool to speak to Irene from Home and Away when she's about to leave. And then the following week is, I believe, an interview with Mitch Ryder, which is a very great, very good interview with Mitch. He tells us all about the rise of Queensland wrestling, how he got to where he is, and some big stuff coming in the future. So keep an eye out for that one.
He's a gentleman and an excellent pro wrestler. That's well worth checking out. And tell us about Oz Wrestling Cards as well, Jamie.
August pack is out now, like we said, featuring Jeff, Toa, Bruno Nitro from Queensland.
From EPW is Bruno Nitro, yeah.
Bruno's Perth. And they're about to, I'll be packing those out and shipping them off next week. So if you want to get them first, get the orders in now.
Yeah, Beetle Bailey says, go get them at Oz Wrestling Cards. That's the go. Jeff, tell us about WrestleBrainia, mate.
Well, as we've mentioned, WrestleBrainia is coming back. Our first show is on August 31. We're doing one a month. It's going to be completely different. We're rewriting the rules. There's going to be new games, different games. I might not even be hosting all of them. That is how different it's going to be. We're going to have all kinds of stuff going down. Different comedians, different wrestlers. As I mentioned, we may have an appearance from a certain gentleman with a horse. We're only interested in the horse, not the gentleman. No, we're completely interested in the gentleman. We are so looking forward to this. This is going to be the same WrestleBrainia fun it always is at our new home, the Berkey Band Room. And, come along. Tickets are on sale now through OzTix if you want to get in really, really early. Beetle Bailey is asking me if we're doing packs. That's to be confirmed. Let's just leave it at that. I'm going to be a little cryptic with packs this year. That's yet to be confirmed.
Come say hi to me at PAX, please, Beetle Bailey. Say hello. I'll be there. It's going to be a blast. So, is there anything else that we need to mention before we go, boys?
Yeah, go and see Todd this weekend.
That's what I was going to say. I'm going to be up at the commentary desk at Pro Wrestling League this Saturday. So if you're there, please do say hello. And please pray for Todd, because Rip Riley is a scary, scary man. I do not want to be in the ring with him. So, that's coming through this weekend. But, follow Todd at Beast Eastman as well while you're there, while you're following all of us. And please do follow all of us. It makes a huge difference.
And make sure you grab tickets to the next Mayhem show, August 23rd, Guilty as Charged. And also, keep an eye out for more RCW action, because it was great.
Absolutely. And, like Hitman George Julio said, go out and see wrestling every time. Go out and see it. It's the best. It's why we're here. So with that, on behalf of the absent podfather Todd Eastman, on behalf of Jamie Apps and Jeff Setti, I've been Lachlan Albert. Till next time, have a good one.
Your arms are just too short to box with God. For what?